stains tell stories of pain. Spoons clinking whispers in the night. Shadows dance beneath the neon light. Who drank the poison, who lit the flame? Everyone's guilty, no one takes the blame. True crime cafe where secrets bleed. Truth a bullet, truth a need. True crime cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide. Black boots stomping, floors of regret. Ashtrays full but we're not done yet. Clock ticks louder, the walls close in. Every sip tastes like original sin. Who's the killer, who's the saint? Fingerprints smudged, they don't paint. Truth or dare or just pretend? What's the start, what's the end? True crime cafe where secrets bleed. Truth a bullet, truth a need. True crime cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide. Who's the killer, who's the saint? Fingerprints smudge, they don't paint. Truth or dare or just pretend? What's the start, what's the end? True crime cafe where secrets bleed. Truth a bullet, truth a need. True crime cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide. Blood on the counter splattered like rain. Coffee stains tell stories of pain. Spoons clinking whispers in the night. Shadows dance beneath the neon light. Who drank the poison, who lit the flame? Everyone's guilty, no one takes the blame. True crime cafe where secrets bleed. Truth a bullet, truth a need. True crime cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide. Black boots stomping, floors of regret. Ashtrays full but we're not done yet. Clock ticks louder, the walls close in. Every sip tastes like original sin. Who's the killer, who's the saint? Fingerprints smudged, they don't paint. Truth or dare or just pretend? What's the start, what's the end? True crime cafe where secrets bleed. Truth a bullet, truth a need. True crime cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide. Who's the killer, who's the saint? Fingerprints smudge, they don't paint. Truth or dare or just pretend? What's the start, what's the end? True crime cafe where secrets bleed. Truth a bullet, truth a need. True crime cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the cafe and happy Labor Day to all of you all crazy meatballs out there. I appreciate you guys so very much for joining us tonight. I hope you had a great day today, enjoyed your Labor Day, and I missed you all greatly so very much. But we are back tonight, guys. A little bit of late night with Dago, looking into the Noah Presgrove case 2 years later, almost to the day, I think to the day on Labor Day. What happened on that Labor Day 2 years ago? Why? And why is it still unsolved? Why are there still no answers? We do have some updates on it. We're going to bring it back together, guys, and bring it up to date. Put some heat underneath this and light it back up because it is definitely a cold one with no answers. And it's so very sad the way this all has gone. So thank you guys for joining me for this one tonight. I appreciate you all so very much. Again, I hope you guys all had a wonderful day, all you beautiful people, and you guys know what comes next. So let's do this thing and get this moving. All right. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining me here on Labor Day. Summer's over. The pool is closed, but the cafe is open. And I'm glad to be here with all of y'all. Please hit that like button on your way through the door. Share this out. Again, I hope everybody has had an amazing day today. I have missed you all throughout the day. I figured I would leave you guys alone today to enjoy your holiday with your families, your friends, yourselves, or whatever, and not have to look at my ugly mug. But we are back. I couldn't hold out any longer. Here we are, and we are open for business tonight, guys. Grab yourself a coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Grab yourselves a seat. Come on in, sit down, have a conversation with me, if you will, please. This case, again, you guys, is a very sad situation. Still unanswered, still unsolved. 2 years later, the Noah Presgrove case out of Oklahoma. Um, 2 years to the day, folks, Labor Day. What actually happened 2 years ago to this young man? Budding athlete, very had his whole life ahead of him, and very, very sad, sad loss. And his family still has no answers. We have some updates, guys. We covered it 2 years ago. Mama Bear and I really got into this one for a while until there was nothing else to get into. And there's no answers on this at all. I mean, nothing. There are some answers, but nothing more than what we've all thought. Okay. His poor family has been going through hell since. And it's just there's so many suspicious people surrounding this, including some law enforcement people, his friends, his supposed friends. Just crazy. Just saying. It's a wild situation. It really is. Give me 1 minute. Get this something here loaded in. I'm sorry. Mama Bear has to go to bed, unfortunately. Otherwise, she'd be here on this too, because I know She had a lot of, she was pretty into this one and was really curious as to what was going on here. So, unfortunately, because it's a later show and she's got to work tomorrow. So, but that's okay. We will catch up with her soon. And I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you to my blue crew that's in the house tonight. I know it's a holiday and I don't expect you guys to show up, but a lot of you did. And I really appreciate that. Speaking of you and all of you that showed up, we got, looks like Panama Mom back in the house tonight. Of course, that's our BBBB. Miss Gianna Gambino, welcome back, Mia. Good to see you tonight. Michelle F., welcome back. Great to see you. Mr. Kent Corbett, my friend, great to have you in the house tonight. Eddie, my friend Eddie, great to have you here, brother. Great to see you. Let's see. Lisa Vallejo, great to have you back tonight. Good to see you. Beach Babe, welcome back to you. Wonderful to see you as well. Oh, let me see who else is joining us. I feel like doing the romper, bumper, stomper, boo. Tell me, Drew. Do I see? Who do I see tonight? Do I see Michael Green, Chili Chicken? I'm not doing that, y'all. Just teasing. But good to see you, Michael. Thank you for joining us. Great to have here. The megastars in the house, Miss Meg P. First in the house. Phil is in the house tonight. Great to see you, Phil. The Gilbert Villian. Thank you for joining us, Phil. Again, everybody, please hit the like button. Share this out. And always, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all for being here. Great to see you tonight. Hope everybody had a safe holiday. It's dangerous out here. My wife's my house guest, my wife's uncle, he went home today, driving all the way back to Alabama through the holiday traffic. I'm like, good Lord, you picked a bad day. But he had a doctor's appointment. He had to go. He was here for a month, so. Sorry, guys. I had messaged Willie earlier, and he just got back to me. I was just sending him a message. Come on in, grab a seat, get comfortable, and wait just a few minutes to see who all jumps in here. Zakali, welcome back. Speaking of Willie, he's right there. There he is, right there, guys. Yeah, I just messaged you back, bro. I called you earlier and I forgot it was a Labor Day, so you're probably doing family things. So I hope you had a great day, brother. Check your text messages. I sent one back to you as well. Miss Tandy, the Seahawks fan, great to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. And of course, our one and only lovely little Miss Lucha Lou. Good evening, ma'am. Good to see you tonight. And Gianna already. Thank you so much, my dear. Happy Labor Day, everyone. Thank you for covering this case. Thank you, Miss Gianna, for that super chat. God bless and Godspeed. I appreciate that so very much. Northbound 75 was the ass kicker. Southbound, good to go. I'll bet. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. I hope you had a great day. And, all of you guys, I hope you all had a great day doing whatever you chose to do today. Whatever it was, I hope it was great for you. Come on in, all you crazy meatballs, and jump in this sauce tonight with us here at the cafe. We're going to spill some of that sauce. Jump back a couple years ago to the Noah Presgrove case, like I said. Still unsolved, still unanswered, and still so many questions with this one. Horrible, just a horrible situation. The way that he was found today, 2 years ago. I don't understand. And it's just crazy. So crazy how this went down. I feel so bad for his family, but we're going to look into it. For those of you that may not be familiar, you will be after today. And I'm going to show those of you that are familiar the updates that we got on this. I will probably more than likely pull up the autopsy on this so people can understand truly how horrible this was. unbelievable, you guys. Unbelievable. So, a little break from the Idaho situation. We got to catch up on some of this other stuff as well, and especially some of these cases that have gone cold that nobody's looking at, talking about, and not answering the questions out there. This one right here, there's so many questions that nobody has answers to, and nobody's talking about this, folks, at all. So we're gonna jump into some. I think it's Law and Crime put out some updates on this as well, telling the story, so on and so forth. We're gonna catch up to it for real. Lucy, you got some sublaining to do, and yes, I still have the voice right now. Sorry. Megastar Meg's in the house tonight. Yo. What it do? I dropped another song in here tonight, a different one. Check it out and see what you guys thought of it as you were waiting on me to move my slow ass on in here. I hope you guys like. I'm putting all these different songs in here to see what you guys pick up on. As far as I'm going to be changing up my intro and outro songs to see what you guys like or dislike and what you think and don't think. And you're not going to hurt my feelings. I created them all. I'm not very good at doing that because that's new for me. Now you give me some instruments and a drum set or whatever, and I'll do it then. But no, this AI thing, I'm new to this, and I'm trying to make it work and trying to learn all these things. So if it sucks, just say, Dago, it sucks. If you like it, let me know, please. Oh yeah, Willie, this one's nuts, bro. This is crazy, and it will drive you nuts too. Like I said, this kid was a budding athlete. I had a lot of friends, a lot of family that loved him, and just lost his life for no reason. And of course, he came. It all is related to some kind of a party with no answers. Wade Bird, welcome back. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining me, guys. Please share this out. Let everybody know what we're doing in here tonight, hanging out with this amazing group of people. And please hit the like button if you would. Oh, Fizzy, wait till you see. It's pretty bad. It's really sad. And I feel so bad, like I said, for the family. It's just not fair. Just not fair. Young, very young, handsome young man, whole life ahead of him, and taken for no reason. And initially with this case, they tried to claim that, oh, there's no foul play. It was an accident. No way. No way. No way this is an accident, you guys. No way in hell, as you'll see. It is, Meg. It's very sad. And there's some lawsuits that have been put out here and there, and we'll get into that stuff too, but it's crazy. By the way, has anybody seen or talked to, thank you, Lucy, Twiz? I have not in a while. I hope he's doing good. I've sent him invites and messages and stuff and no response, so I hope he's doing okay. Oh, yeah, that's definitely wasn't an accident. They tried to claim that. That's hilarious. You have talked to Twiz? Okay, is he good? I hope so. I haven't seen or heard from him in a while. I hope he's good. Miss Brandy B, our OG's in the house tonight. Good to see you, dear. I hope you're doing well. Again, thank you to my moderators for taking time out of their holiday to jump in here to the cafe and help out with the amazing things that they do. You guys know I love you. I appreciate every bit of what you do and then some. And I'm grateful to see you tonight. I truly am, because you didn't have to do this. I think he is in a Rubik's Cube. Meg, what? You're not serious, right? That's a joke. Please tell me that's a joke. Either that or a gooch hole stick. What the actual hell are you guys talking about? Gen 7, welcome back, dear. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Listen, and I want to tell you guys, too, this community. I appreciate... Okay, Meg, I was making sure. I thought it was, but you never know what Twiz. You never know. It could be. I want to tell you guys in this community, for those of you that are here, I've had a lot of people that show up in here, and they only show up here because they want to talk about the Idaho 4 case. It means a lot to me that a lot of you guys are here, even though we're not talking about the Idaho 4 case. That says a lot, and that's important to me for the channel itself. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the Idaho case, we're going to continuously talk about it because there's so much to talk about. And it is a very important case. But I see a lot of you guys popping in here that, I would imagine definitely showed up for the Idaho 4 case. And you're here today and we're not talking about it. Just so you know, that means everything to me. And I appreciate that so very much. There's so much other stuff going on out there too, folks. There's so much. I could probably do 10 shows a day and hit all of the different stuff out there and still never even put a dent in it. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful. So thank you. I wanted to tell you guys all of you that as well. I've had people literally come in here and say, "Oh, you're not talking about Idaho? Bye." Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, Exactly, Charlotte. Thank you for being here, by the way. It's great to see you tonight. Miss Charlotte Kehoe. I think she's from Scotland or Ireland. One of the two. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I am wrong, but it's wonderful to have you here. Clear from over there. It's wonderful. I think that's so cool. I have heard of this case, but I don't know about it. Well, wait till you learn this one, Jen. This is nuts. Ireland. There we go. Ireland. That's where my wife's family is from. There's a case in Arizona where an Australian has been waiting for 8 years to go to trial, and she looks in it. Wow. Arizona. Okay. Yeah, guys, I do need to get back to putting some of this other stuff out too. But there's so much that's been coming out with Idaho, new stuff and reports and documents and photos and this, and I mean, it's just nonstop. As soon as I think we get through it, there's more. And that's why we've been stuck there for a little while. And, we're going to keep going back to it because as long as they're giving us stuff, I got to put it out and talk about it, So there's that. But whatever else I can jump into, we're going to jump into because there's so much stuff that needs to be talked about, truly and honestly. So let me see. Kathy Tolan, welcome back to you. Good to see you. Appreciate it. There are quite a few people that are tired of hearing about it. I know. But like I said, anytime something comes out, whether it's a report, a document, photographs, I have to put it out. Definitely have to put it out to keep us up to date. And then I can move forward into the next thing. This definitely need to be touched on and talked about because it's been 2 years and there's nothing. There's a couple updates on it, but there's still no true and outright answers to it. And that's a problem for me. Yes, there are 2 days left on the countdown for Mr. Koberger. That is true. Thank you, Kent. Appreciate that, my friend. Beach Babe, good to see you tonight. I appreciate that as well. It definitely does, Gianna. It's been cold. It's cold, in my opinion. Like I said, they said that they didn't believe for the longest time that there was any foul play. Once you see and hear this, folks, if you don't think there is, no way. No way in hell. Let me see. I gotta turn this down a bit back here, by the way. Come on in, get comfortable, grab a seat, guys. All right, there we go. It is Michelle, very much so, yes. And you're in the UK, and you know about this one. So just saying. Yes, he can still make an appeal after those days are up. There's just certain things he can't do at that point. So either way, he can still file an appeal. And that's all he's got to do is really go in and state that he's filing an appeal. That's it. And that's what we're looking for. Circus Music, good to see you tonight. Oh, I hope Canadian Cat Lady gets the memo and she pops in here because I know she was looking forward to a show today. Again, for those of you that were, I'm sorry I didn't make it in earlier today. Like I said, I was trying to give you guys a break to do whatever you might want to be doing, and get a break from looking at my ugly mug for a while. Miss Jessie's in the house. Good to see you, Jessie. Appreciate you joining us. I see that. Jessie, free the innocent. I love it. circus music. This is about a young man that was found. His name is Noah Presgrove. He was found in the middle of the road, naked, with one shoe on. Miss Cat's in the house. Good to see you, Cat. Welcome back tonight. And he was at a party before that. And there's so many things to this. It don't make no sense. They said it was an accident that looked like he may have gotten hit by a car or something. When you guys see and understand the depth of what the autopsy shows, this is no accident. And I have the autopsy report, the whole and real autopsy report. And as I was going through this a couple years back when we covered this, oh my God, you guys. Yeah, it is. It's kind of in the same realm as Stephen Smith, but it's bad. And it is really bad. Part of the problem on this is some of the surprise, some of the people involved in this that I feel are not such great people are law enforcement. Okay, here we go again, but not in the way you guys would think. It's different, but same but different, as Mr. Miyagi would say. Same but different. Um, just bad stuff, and a best friend, and a lot of other friends, and just a young man that had his whole life in front of him that lost it for, in my opinion, absolutely no reason. Maybe jealousy, maybe young stupidity. Who knows, folks? But we're going to find out. 42 people in the house, 33 likes. We're catching up. Let's get that up there as high as we can, guys, and see if we can get this into that algorithm, please, so that we can get this out and everybody can see this and put some fire under this case and heat it back up, because it is definitely cold, in my opinion. Please, please hit that like button and share this out. Good evening, Miss Kelly. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you're having a great day. And I hope you all had an amazing and safe Labor Day, like I said. The meatballs into sauce. That's right. I'm going to put a song together called something just like that. Meatballs into sauce. Thank you, Gianna. I appreciate that very much. There she is. There she is. I was hoping for you. I got your wake-up call. I just woke up and wasn't sure what time it was. Didn't even look around. Thanks so much. You are so welcome, Cat Lady. Again, yes, I knew you were looking forward to a show, and here we are, just for you and all the rest of you as well. And this does me well, too, guys. I need this at least once a day. At least once. It's kind of therapy to me. So thank you guys all for joining us. FGAI. Forget about it. That's right, Kelly. Forget about it. It's a fugazi. I hope you guys all had some good food today as well. No yelling at you. Tomboy's in the house. Oh my God. Are you killing me? You're killing me. You're kidding me. Unbelievable, Tomboy. And you showed it to me knowing that I can't have any of it. It looks amazing. It does. I hope you enjoyed it. I never heard of that before, but it sounds good. Like I said, for those of you that did anything, I hope you guys had some good food, some good company, enjoyed yourselves, and stayed safe. That's all that matters. It looks good, Tandy. It looks really good. It reminds me of what my wife made, that Death by Chocolate stuff that has the brownies, the chocolate pudding, the broken up Reese's cups, and then the whipped cream on top of it, which is gone. But it was so good. I had a little bit. So Tomboy just showed me. I'll show it to you here in a second. One minute here. So let me see if I can put this in here. There it is. Oh my God. And it says Reese's no bake cheesecake with Little Debbie fudge rounds and peanut butter cream filled cookies as the crust. Good God Almighty, Tomboy. I think I just got diabetes talking about it. Truly. Hey, Spivey, good to see you. Thank you for joining us today or tonight. Slutty brownies, my friend. That's fun. I love it, Kelly. Yeah, I've never heard of that one before, guys. That's nuts. And I'd tell you to send me a piece, but by the time I got here, it would be liquid. So, right. Talk about sugar. Sugar, sugar. It does. It does, Cat. I agree. They always put things in here in the Discord and different recipes and stuff that yeah. My wife, we've made a couple. They've turned out really good. Wisdom Speaks. God bless her. It's sugar-free whipped cream, sugar-free cheesecake, even sugar-free, and it still turned out probably amazing, I'll bet. Oh, absolutely, Spivey. It's wonderful to have you here. I appreciate seeing you. You're always welcome, and I love seeing names. Spivey used to come in here before, so seeing new faces and old faces, I love it. So yes, I'm jealous. It looks really good though, Tomboy. Really good. But Miss Wisdom Speaks put together, put some recipes in here long time back. Sadly, she's no longer with us. We all know. But one of them was a what the hell was it? Philly steak meatloaf. Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, or no, yeah, well, there was two of them. There was the Philly steak meatloaf, and then there was one that was a French onion soup meatloaf. Okay, holy shit, guys! Yeah, my wife has made that like 3 times now. It's very good. The French onion one was really good. And yes, we miss Wisdom very much. Thank you, SRB. What's up, Robert? Good to see you. Results from the Echo car. I have slightly enlarged heart. Well, you better take care of that stuff, bro. Please take care of that stuff and take care of yourself. But I'm glad you got through the test and got it done to know those things. You got to take care of yourself, buddy. I saw the oatmeal cream cookie cheesecake on TikTok, but Tandy doesn't like the oatmeal. I love those, the soft ones. Yes, I like oatmeal cookies. Period. Either way, it sounds like it would be amazing. I'm glad you guys got to enjoy that. Thank you so much, SRB. There, Scully Skulls in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're having a safe day and an awesome day today too, bro. Yeah, if you jump in our Discord with us, we have all sorts of channels in there and little spots you can jump in for recipes. We have a spot for our pets, for our families, children things. We have a couple other things in there, so it's very welcoming and plenty of things to do and interact with in there. So please do. A lot of recipes. We got a lot of awesome moms and ladies and cooks in here that makes amazing things, and they throw all of their stuff in that, all their recipes in there. Oh yeah, sadly, Jesse, we lost her. She passed back in May, sadly. So I ask everybody when they can remember just to throw some purple hearts in there in memory of Wisdom, because she will always be with us no matter what. None of her stuff has been taken out of here. It will always stay there as long as this channel exists. So SRB can help you out. I think she threw that up there. Jesse, if you wanted to. Raquel, welcome back. Good to see you. Thank you, Jesse. We appreciate that very much. She was a big part of this community and this family, founding member of the basis of this community, in my opinion. So we appreciate that so very much. Thank you so much, Spivey. I appreciate that. Your kids in chats are always so welcoming. Yes. It's the best community in YouTube. I told you guys I'll die on that hill. Anybody tries to prove me wrong, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you out, because this is the best community, the best moderators, period. I will stay there. Tomboy says Instagram.com real. I don't know what that is. Tomboy, but thank you for putting it in there. And thank you again for your support. Again, Spivey, for that super chat. God bless. So very generous and so much appreciated. And again, folks, as I always say, when we do that, we never ever expect tips, donations, anything like that. It's never expected. You don't have to do that to be here. But it is so very much appreciated because every bit of it, whether it's super chats and stickers, community memberships that are being gifted, donations to the PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App, it's all very much appreciated because it helps to keep this channel going on a daily basis. So thank you again so very much to those of you that choose to do that. She really was. She was a lot of our heart and soul here, folks, and she kept us all up and going, and she kept us on the right track. She made sure that we kept our common sense in front of us. That's one big thing. She was all about the common sense, guys. So I know she's watching over all of us now because she loved this community. She loved the people, and we loved her as much. So that's why we throw the purple hearts in there as often as we can, just to keep her in our thought, in our hearts, and in our community as well. Eddie, do you remember this case? Are you familiar? You're welcome to join me up here tonight if you'd like to, by the way, sir. If not, don't worry about it. But thank you, Tomboy. I will make sure that Brandy sees it. My Brandy sees it. She'll probably love it. She likes doing new things like that from time to time. Thank you, Scully. I appreciate it, brother. We are looking into the Noah Presgrove case, Raquel, and doing some updates on that and talking about it to kind of heat it back up because it has definitely gone cold. Miss Taylor's in the house. Good to see you, Miss Taylor. Thank you for joining us. I was hoping to see Mittens for Kittens tonight. I hope she's doing okay. Yeah, she was amazing. She really was. But thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that so very much. And Kent, thank you, my friend. Hope you're having a good night, Taylor. Thank you for joining us, dear. 41 people, 41 likes. We are on point. Thank you so much, guys. Share this out. Let everybody know what we're doing. And let's see how many people we can get in here to do this. The more we get it out there, the more people that come in here, the more we get it, the easier it is to get in the algorithm, and it gets out to the whole world to see. I remember you had said that before, that because you're from okay. So yeah. Really sad and pretty wild. I think I remember you covered it then for sure. Once we get into it here, we'll refer. Yeah, I figured as much too, Eddie. All right. Give it another minute here, and then we'll get moving with this for sure. Just want to make sure we got everybody here that we need. Again, it's great to be back with you guys today. I mean, I hope you're all having an amazing day. Oh my God. I seen something on YouTube today. I was skimming through stuff, pulling up stuff for this. And there were things flashing through. Does anybody remember the TV series V? And then it came out again, and it was called V: The Final Battle. Remember, they were people. Well, they looked like people, but underneath it, they were lizards. They would tear their skin off, and they were lizards. You guys remember that show? Anybody, please? SRB said yes, but I didn't watch it. Great show. I just seen that, and I was like, oh my God, that was a great show. And it was so... Seeing it now, I clicked on it for about 5 minutes, and they were showing a clip of it, and I'm like, wow, we've come so far from that. It was crazy. Yes, the girl had a baby lizard. That is correct. Okay, that's cool, Beach Babe. Yeah, it was a great show, Robert. It really was. Way back in the 80s. The original, yes, Michael. The original was the best. I agree with that one. And then when they came out with the final battle, pretty interesting. There were some great things from the 80s, guys. It really was. Right, let me get into my downloads here. It was a good one, Tandy. It really was. And I'm going to explain the show, or the case, I have the 911 calls, and I can pull up, and I probably will, the autopsy stuff. And I also have some wiretap leaks that were put out after the fact that it's quite interesting. We're going to get into all that tonight, guys. So I hope you're here for it. It's going to get interesting for sure. All right, let me find it here. I'm going to have to pull things from different places as well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go start here. Hopefully they explain it all. And if there's any issues with any of the audio or video stuff, let me know right away, folks, so I can make sure I fix it for you. Rocky's demanding to be held, so minimal typing. Oh, no worries, Fizzy. You're good. All right, y'all. Here we go. Again, share this out if you will. Make sure to hit the like button when you come on in the door. Let's get this thing a moving.
It is a mystery that has haunted an Oklahoma community for almost 2 years. 19-year-old Noah Presgrove was found dead, naked, and with brutal injuries.
Just so everybody knows, this was put out in June. This video came out in June, so.
On an isolated stretch of road not far from where he'd been partying for days on end. And while theories about what happened and who could be responsible have run rampant, Noah's family says they're not getting any real answers. So now they are naming names in a new civil lawsuit. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. A best friend, on-again, off-again girlfriend, a litany of people, and an allegedly tight-knit friend group, all of them are now named in a brand new lawsuit, accused of contributing to the death of Noah Presgrove. Now, Noah, who's also referred to in court paperwork as Noah Nichols, was 19 years old when he went to a days-long birthday party for a friend in Terrell, Oklahoma. This is part.
Welcome, Humphrey. Yes, I did. Raquel. Thank you. Definitely did. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody real quick here. Stitches, good to see you, Stitches. Thank you for being here. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, I promise I will see you and I will catch up with you.
That was well documented on social media. On September 4th, 2023, at around 6 a.m., Noah's body was found along a rural highway by a truck driver. He was reportedly in the fetal position. He was naked, except for this mismatched pair of shoes. Some of his jewelry, even teeth, were scattered nearby. His injuries were shocking. His neck was broken. His skull was split open. Again, many of his teeth were broken. An autopsy was done revealing the extent of these massive head and upper body damage injuries, but it didn't really reveal much about what happened to cause those injuries. And despite his family believing he was beaten to death and dumped along the road, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, according to the Daily Mail, is not investigating the case as a murder. They've previously called the death suspicious. There was a statement that came out that they hadn't ruled out manslaughter, but haven't really offered up any sort of definitive story publicly. There had been a prominent theory that perhaps Noah was killed in a hit and run, but according to Noah's autopsy report, there were no vehicle parts or debris at the scene. The pathologist who did the autopsy found that the probable cause of death was multiple blunt force injuries, but listed Noah's manner of death as unknown. The medical examiner's report included toxicology findings, which indicated that Noah's blood alcohol content was 0.14 at the time of his death. The lawsuit states that that is nearly double the amount of blood alcohol content that would be present in a typical intoxicated person. He didn't have any drugs in his system either, per the toxicology report. But because of the apparent lack of answers from law enforcement, what has happened? Noah's estate has now filed this wrongful death lawsuit against multiple people allegedly involved with that celebration, seeking at least $75,000 in damages. So to dig into the lawsuit, to dig into the mysterious details surrounding Noah's death, I want to bring in criminal defense attorney John Day. John, thanks so much for coming on. It's good to see you. I know your focus is criminal law, but I got to ask, I have to take your sense on this. The family says they've been stonewalled by law enforcement, by investigators. Is a civil lawsuit the correct next step? Will they get the answers they're looking for?
Well, thanks for having me. So this is such a tragic and puzzling case. You got a family who has a dead 19-year-old with all those bizarre facts that you just laid out. And the Highway Patrol in Oklahoma says, we're not investigating this as a homicide. Well, I haven't thought about that in a minute. But so the family turns to a civil lawsuit now, claiming wrongful death, suing 7 people, including a convenience store that they allege sold alcohol. And the alcohol was then handed off to this minor who eventually died, poor Noah. So what the family's doing is using the civil courts to either obtain money, which is how our justice system compensates wrongful death, or it also is a way to get information if there really is a stall in a criminal investigation or if there is no criminal investigation. So the family's seeking monetary damages. They've listed all the people they think are defendants. It's one way to push the case forward because now they get to do things like take depositions, subpoena documents, and do things that ordinarily would be taking place in a criminal investigation. So this is really the last step that they have, the last tool that they have, if nothing's happening criminally.
By the way, I got to say something. You know how we're always writing?
Welcome, Charm Free. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Cat Lover, good to see you as well. Steve, welcome back, my friend. Give me a minute, guys. Just want to make sure. And this is a bit shocking in some senses, too. So there'll be some trigger warnings here and there. All right, on we go.
So many different sidebars, researching, doing game changer. This is coffee, strawberry.
This is happening in this case.
Skip the stress. An idea about why nothing might be happening?
So sometimes, I'm not saying this is happening in this case, but sometimes law enforcement will say, it's sort of a head fake. It's like, we're not looking at this as a homicide. We're not looking at this criminally. Does that mean that if there are people out there, because somebody knows what happened, somebody has information about what happened to Noah, at least one person, maybe more. If you're law enforcement and you say, we're not looking at this as a crime, does that mean that the people who might have information, who might have been involved, are they a little more relaxed? Do they do things like talk about what they might know or things that they'd heard in a way that they're not so much in fear of being criminally prosecuted? I'm not saying that's happening in this case, but we have seen that happen in other situations.
And look, we're looking from the outside in. We don't really know what's happening behind the scenes with law enforcement, but you can sense there is a sense of frustration here. So before we even get into the lawsuit, I got to get everybody caught up to speed on all the players in this story because there are a lot, so stick with me here. So first, a little bit more about Noah. According to what family members told People magazine, the 19-year-old was a star athlete in Comanche, Oklahoma, competing in football, wrestling, cross country, track. He graduated from high school a few months before the party where he was last seen, reportedly planned to join the military with his cousin. That's according to People. His best friend, Jack Newton, is named in the lawsuit. According to family, Noah and Jack had been friends since they were kids, spent a lot of time together. Jack's father, Caleb Newton, is also named because he reportedly allowed Noah to ride an ATV at the party, despite Noah reportedly being heavily intoxicated, and it's believed that the ATV flipped over at some point. Now, according to social media messages seen by the Daily Mail, friends said that Noah was just dirty from the fall, didn't sustain serious injuries, and the Daily Mail also reports that Caleb Newton has always maintained that he wasn't at the party and that the ATV belonged to his son, Jack. Another player is Carter Combs. According to the Daily Mail, she was Jack's on-again, off-again girlfriend. But per the lawsuit, Carter Combs, Avery Joe Howard, also known as Avery Joe Combs, and Logan Jernigan hosted the party on a property that was owned by a man named Johnny Trout Wilcoxon Jr. It's our understanding that he wasn't present at the party, which was being thrown at least partially in celebration of Avery's 22nd birthday. This is per the Daily Mail. Now, Stevie Howard, Carter, and Avery's mom also defendant in the suit. The complaint says that she owned a trailer on that property, which is where much of the party reportedly took place. And the lawsuit also names John or Jane Doe's A through Z, meaning they're as of yet unidentified people who may have been involved in Noah's death in some way, who could be named as defendants at a later date. Over the course of several days, people came and went from that party, by the way, possibly as many as 40. And the final defendant is Val Petrol LLC, which owns a convenience store called Napoli's in Marlow, Oklahoma. The lawsuit contends that Jack Newton, despite being underage, was able to buy alcohol for the party there. John, a lot of people here, a lot of moving parts. Does this seem to be, we're going to try to throw as much liability as possible, try to name everybody? Is that a benefit for a plaintiff? Do you see this maybe overextending it in some way? Or look, at the other way to say is, you have a young guy who was dead on the side of the road in horrific condition. We're going to go after everybody that we think contributed in some way or not.
Right. Again, civil and criminal. This is the civil case.
Right.
In the civil lawsuit, they have the opportunity the plaintiffs, the family, has the opportunity to dig into it, to get information, talk to witnesses, subpoena people, and so on. And of course, if you're looking for some type of compensation for the death of your loved one, you go after the people who are responsible. And in particular, if one of your defendants is an oil company that owns a convenience store, that's one area that you want to go into if you think you're owed something for the death of your relative. So they're using the civil case to get the information that they don't seem to be getting in a criminal prosecution, because there is no criminal prosecution. At least that's what the state highway patrol is telling the family and telling us. So they're going after essentially the deep pockets with this convenience store. But their theory is that this was alcohol being served to a minor. Where did it come from? It came from ultimately the convenience store.
And the lawsuit lays out what Noah's estate says happened that night. It's based upon information from police, social media posts, their own investigation. This is their take on it. So according to the complaint, it reads, quote, on September 4th, 2023, it's written as, by the way, 2024, so that appears to be a typo. The decedent was found lifeless and naked on the side of United States Highway 81 in Terrell, Oklahoma. Found next to the decedent's body were the decedent's teeth, a necklace, and a neatly folded pair of basketball shorts. Decedent's death was not caused by being hit by a motor vehicle. The lawsuit claims there was a civil conspiracy to provide alcohol to underage individuals and to keep giving them alcohol despite clearly high levels of intoxication. The complaint continues, despite being underage, the decedent was promised and provided copious amounts of alcohol if he attended the party. Defendants provided the decedent with alcohol over the course of multiple days, even after he was already intoxicated. During the party, defendant Caleb Newton permitted decedent to drive or ride his all-terrain vehicle while intoxicated. Decedent was involved in an all-terrain vehicle accident and sustained injuries. Now, friends have reportedly said that the ATV just tipped over, that Noah wasn't hurt, only dirty, and Carter and another girl allegedly helped him shower off, according to reporting from the Daily Mail, and then gave him a pair of Jack's basketball shorts to wear. Quote, toward the end of the party, defendants Jack Newton and Avery Howard were seen verbally fighting with decedent. Now, according to the Daily Mail, Noah wanted to go to sleep in Avery's bed, but she said he had to sleep on the floor, and they claim that Noah walked off in a huff, presumably going outside to cool off. That was reportedly the last time that he was seen. It says at or around 3:41 a.m. on September 4th, 2023, at least some partygoers began to notice that the decedent was no longer physically present at the party. Now, you might be saying 3:41, it's a very specific time. Well, that is related to a Snapchat photo that was posted by another woman at the party named Jasmine Milan. And in it, she's got this kind of awkward smile, and the caption says, well, Noah's missing. Milan, by the way, later posted an update on Facebook defending that Snapchat photo, which had spread widely. She wrote in part, I just want to make something clear. I posted this picture not knowing that the worst was going to happen.
Welcome, Miss Paula. Wonderful to see you. And there's a lot of things in this that don't make sense. So just be prepared.
Not knowing Noah would never come back. It was normal for Noah to wander off. Nobody thought he wouldn't be back. So don't even think for a second just because I posted that means I know what happened to him, because I'm just as clueless as everyone else. I'm sick of it. Noah was my friend and I loved him so much. 2 hours after that photo was posted, Noah's broken body was found along the highway, around a mile away from the party spot. And the lawsuit states the decedent was beat to death by one or more of the defendants. But the complaint doesn't say who exactly the estate believes was involved in the alleged beating. That's a big claim to make in a lawsuit, right, John? To say that he was beaten to death by somebody, but I mean, presumably by one or more of the defendants. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. That's their theory. They certainly have to prove it up. But again, filing this lawsuit gives the family a lot of tools. They can.
Absolutely, SRB. Everybody that was at this party, in my opinion, absolutely knows what happened to Noah.
Dig into this now. They can subpoena witnesses. They can take depositions. They can subpoena records. It gives them a lever into the case. And again, what we're hearing from law enforcement as well, we're not looking at this as a homicide. There's been pretty much radio silence from law enforcement. It's certainly a possibility that's a.
Let me ask you this: if anybody acts weird during this litigation, look, they have a legal right to try to fight a subpoena. They have a legal right to try to fight the case. But is it the behavior of the defendants in a civil action that may be noticed by law enforcement in some way?
I think that's exactly right. You can see what the reactions are going to be. And at the same time, when law enforcement says, we're not looking at this as a homicide, essentially saying we're not looking at this as a crime, if you're a potential criminal defendant who's being sued civilly, that takes away it could take away your Fifth Amendment right to not say anything and not say anything in a civil case. So it's a pretty canny move, a pretty smart move from the family standpoint. If you want to get information and law enforcement is saying, well, we don't have an open case, we're not investigating one, we don't have any people of interest, and you are being sued civilly, you may have to give a deposition, you may have to give a statement. And of course, law enforcement is going to be looking at there very closely. And remember what civil cases have started criminal cases recently. You've got Harvey Weinstein, civil lawsuits filed that began the criminal prosecutions against him, and the Diddy case, civil lawsuits filed that ultimately wound up with criminal prosecutions.
Now, by the way, something to make note of here. So the family believes anybody involved in that party should be held accountable. And in fact, there is a law in the books for that similar kind of scenario. It's called Oklahoma's social host law, and it apparently applies to those who allow minors to consume alcohol on their property. According to the law, a social host can be a minor or adult, does not have to be physically present or the actual property owner, but it involves immediate fines of $500. And if someone is injured or killed because of a social host violation, the host can be charged with a felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison, a fine of $2,500. Noah's family says that none of the adults or the minors involved in this party have been arrested or fined in any way. John, is that a good law?
It's an interesting law, and it may be that the family is hoping to use this law to either put pressure on law enforcement or to advance the case in a way that hasn't been done criminally. But they are going to use any tool that they have. And so the ability to say, look, we're digging into this, we found facts that maybe law enforcement didn't have, or the other possibility is that this family is actually working hand in hand with law enforcement, and this is a very smart, canny way to move the case forward. At the same time, the public pronouncements from the Highway Patrol are, well, we're not looking at this as a homicide. But the bottom line is somebody or some people know exactly what happened to Noah.
The lawsuit continues, quote, defendants breached their duties of care to decedent by providing him with alcohol, by continuing to give him alcohol even after he was observably intoxicated, by driving the decedent around on an all-terrain vehicle while intoxicated, and by selling alcohol to a minor who purchased alcohol for decedent to consume, either intentionally or accidentally. The defendants killed decedent. In addition to punitive damages, the estate.
Welcome, Michelle Pazwork. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. And I apologize for that screen jump like that.
Is entitled to recover damages from decedent's medical and burial expenses, decedent's mental pain and suffering, and the surviving family's pecuniary loss and loss of companionship. This is something you see in all these kinds of wrongful death kind of cases about what that loss is. And the complaint says that the family seek.
They did, Jen. Unfortunately, I think it was a tooth or two that his friend supposedly walked over and dropped next to his body and then left. A shoe, and yep, there it is, Charm. Yeah, it was one shoe and some teeth, folks. And the shoe wasn't even his. It's crazy. But yeah, Jen, that's what was found there. the folded up shorts, some teeth, and a shoe. And his friend is the one that dropped the teeth next to the body and walked away. This is beyond insane, you guys. You'll see.
At least $75,000 or more in damages. John, this theory of liability, it is in the civil context. The burden of proof is much lower. What are you, besides the criminal aspect, how do you see this civil case playing out?
Well, the family has two motives. One is, sure, the monetary, that's how.
Yeah, Taylor said in his necklace. Thank you, Taylor.
We compensate people in our justice system and wrongful death cases. They're going after the convenience store owner, apparently an oil and gas company. They're going after the homeowner where the party took place. Is their homeowner's insurance that's going to kick in? On the other hand, you've got the family looking for just some type of justice, some type of.
And this is one of those situations where the parents of the home that the party was held at, they were there partying too with the kids. And I don't, that's not how that works, folks. When you get older and your kids are in their 20s and their 30s and stuff, and they come over and you want to have a little bit of a good time, that's fine. When your kids are teenagers, you don't throw a party and party with them. Okay. No, there's some really disturbing shit. Like, the one kid's dad was quote unquote found in a bedroom with one of the teenage girls, possibly, and just a bunch of wild things coming out about this stuff from back then. It's really crazy.
Satisfaction, some type of closure. And one way to get information, if you're not getting it in a law enforcement investigation, is the civil suit. So there may be money as one motive, compensation, but the other one may be purely, we want to know what happened. We want some justice in this case for Noah.
Yep, answers. And look, since Noah's death, the community has rallied around the family. They've pushed hard for justice. There are T-shirts that say "Speak Up," hashtag Justice for Noah. Presgrove, Noah's photo was all over town on posters, yard signs. People magazine has been closely following the case, even featured Noah on its cover. So we'll keep a careful eye on what happens next as well. John Day, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to see you.
Good to see you.
And that's all we have.
All right, so that's that one, guys. I got a couple of these for you guys tonight on just this itself, to catch us up. That one kind of gives the gist of the case for people that may not have known about it. Okay, now hold on a minute here. I'm gonna jump to this one from a year ago because the autopsy came back. It took a while. He was found curled up in the fetal position, naked on the side of the road with one shoe on. Yes. Very disturbing, you guys. Very disturbing. For him to be disrobed, I felt like, and this is just my opinion at that point, I personally felt like somebody was trying to possibly humiliate him. Okay. Or people took his clothes to remove the possibility of their DNA or their fingerprints being on him, in my opinion. One of those two reasons, or both, maybe. These are my opinions, of course. So, the way the body was so bunged up sounds like that's what they wanted everybody to think. There's more to that, Michelle. There's a lot more. Hey, Butterfly, good to see you tonight. It's been a while. It's great to have you in the house. Appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. So this next one was from a year ago. This was put out, and it's in relation to what happened when the autopsy finally came out, and it relates to the injuries that he received, the trueness of them, and like all of it. You know what I mean? And like I said, if I need to, if it doesn't bring it up in this, I will pull it up and show you. Yes, the shorts were folded up and laid next to him. Jen, it's crazy, very weird. I had heard that they had put him in the shower too. They tried to say that it was because he had wrecked two ATVs. One was a side-by-side. The other was like a 3 or a 4-wheeler. I have a feeling that he was drugged behind a vehicle. Okay. Like down the road, drugged behind a vehicle as like a torture situation. This is just a kid, you guys. This like breaks my heart too. He was last seen arguing with that male and female. Yes, yes, Miss Lucy. Yes, he was. Thank you. And then he went off, and nobody remembers, they say, seeing the next portion of what went down. He wanted to sleep in the chick's bed, and she said, "Nope, you're on the floor." That's my understanding. Thank you, Taylor. Because he was in her bed. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I heard that too, Jesse. Absolutely have heard that more recently. Okay, some of injuries could be from the first wreck and other. Well, he was up and moving around after both of those wrecks. Okay. Bumps and bruises, sure, I'll give you that. But what happened to him in his autopsy, you'll see. No way. No way. Thank you, Taylor.
In for a teenager in Oklahoma, but still there are so many questions about the death of Noah Presgrove. We dig into the autopsy report with a crime scene investigator. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Noah Presgrove was 19 when a truck driver found him on a highway in Terrell, Oklahoma, just before 6 a.m. on September 4th of last year. Noah was naked and only wearing unmatching shoes. A pair of shorts believed to be Noah's were found nearby but undamaged. Also found nearby, a metal white chain and part of a molar tooth. What wasn't found? There were no vehicle parts or debris at the scene. The autopsy report says that further investigation revealed that the decedent was at a house party and drinking on September 3rd of 2023. Then he rode an ATV Ranger vehicle with several men that had a rollover accident. The decedent was alive following the incident and returned to the party where he got into an argument with his girlfriend. What happened after that remains a mystery. The autopsy found that Noah had several blunt force injuries to his head and his neck. There were fractures to the skull and swelling to the brain.
Yeah, his head, the back of his head was actually caved in completely. Welcome, Daniela. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you're having a great evening. So, yeah, it was there's a lot of trauma involved in this too. A lot, folks. A whole lot.
He had abrasions, which are big scrapes on the left side of his face, including his neck, cheek, and ears.
And some of those are the reasons why I feel like he may have been drugged. And there's a video on that as well. Happy Labor Day to you, Daniela.
And broken lower and upper teeth. The pathologist wrote, there were abrasions on the right back of the head, behind the right ear, and subadjacent posterior right neck. There was bleeding coming out.
Trigger warning. This video includes sensitive and violent content that may not be suitable for all viewers. This video is for 18 plus only. Trigger.
That's just in case, because some of this stuff is really bad. Okay, so just be prepared that it can get kind of gross. That's all I'm saying.
Out from the right and left ears. The upper and lower teeth were broken with few fragments found inside the mouth. There were white abrasions on the midline mucosa of the upper lip. Noah also had wide scrapes on his back containing black material and abrasions on his arms and his backside.
And when that described the black material, I felt like it was like pavement ingrained in his skin from being drugged, possibly, is what my thoughts are on that. Welcome, Taylor. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you very much. I know you lived fairly like within an hour or so of this place, you said, and you're from the area. So I appreciate you wanting to join tonight. Did you have anything to add before we went any further? Can you hear me first? You look like you're muted. I guess not yet. Okay. Well, welcome either way. If you can hear me, thank you for joining us. Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me all right? There must be a delay. Are you there?
Can you not hear me, Diego?
No. You might want to jump out and come back in because there's definitely a delay and it seems like you can't hear me.
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I can't hear you, and you're answering like minutes after I ask.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to jump down and come back up, I can pull you back in.
There were lacerations on his lungs and fractures to his ribs. The pathologist ultimately found, in consideration of the circumstances surrounding the death, autopsy examination, and toxicology result, the death of Noah Alexander Nichols is due to multiple blunt force injuries. The decedent was found naked, wearing only a pair of shoes on the side of a highway on the morning of September 4th, 2023. There were no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene.
Welcome, Donna. And that's another thing. If he had been hit by a car, even if it would have been like a semi or something, there would have been some kind of, definitely like a pickup or a car.
Let's try this again.
Welcome back. There would have been some sort of debris on the road.
I'm still lagging. Okay. It's not going to work.
Okay. I hear you, but yeah, there would have been some form of debris on the road, I would have thought, okay, but there was nothing. So there's that as well.
At this time, what transpired on the body was found on the road having multiple blunt force injuries is unknown. Therefore, the manner of death is deemed undetermined. We now know what caused Noah's death, but we don't know how he died. This is a law and crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users browsing data without their knowledge. If it's incognito, you can start your. I want to bring in somebody /crime fix. I want to bring in somebody to help me discuss what we know about the autopsy results for Noah Presgrove. She's Alina Burrows. She is the host of Crime Scene Confidential on ID. She's also a forensic consultant, a former crime scene investigator, a CSI, real life CSI. So Alina, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on. This is somebody, a young guy, 19 years old, a healthy guy who suffered a lot of significant trauma to his head and his neck. And his upper body. So there's a lot going on with this autopsy and the results.
A lot. Yeah. This is definitely one of those puzzles that you have to kind of follow down one path until it doesn't make any sense and then pivot and go down a different path. Certainly a lot of trauma.
One thing that I found interesting, and we need to couch everything we say with the fact that we are looking at the autopsy report. We're looking at what the pathologist found. We have not seen photographs of the scene. We have not been to the scene and visited it, so we haven't seen what they are seeing. But one thing that I found interesting was the fact that, very sad, Noah is found on the highway. He has abrasions on his back, wide scrapes is what they basically call it, with black material in there. He's naked. He has two different shoes on. He had some writing on his body, probably from the party. Mm-hmm. Broken teeth. I mean, there's a lot of damage here, but there's no car debris. So does that rule out the possibility that this could have been an accident where he was hit and a vehicle took off, a hit and run, something like that?
Yeah, the injuries that we're looking at really, to me, rule out hit and run for a couple of reasons. One, when we look at the evidence, we're looking at the fact that he is wearing the two mismatched shoes, which the first thing everybody's going to be questioning is, why is he wearing two mismatched shoes? It looks like he had exchanged shoes with a friend at the party. As an investigator, the first thing that piques my interest, why the mismatched shoes? And if he's wearing mismatched shoes, there's another set of mismatched shoes somewhere.
And see, my thoughts on that was that because they were all drinking, I felt like somebody may have put those on him, not being a clear mind, and shoved his feet into those possibly. Or he himself may have done it because he was intoxicated, maybe. That's my thought as well. Hey, Mark, good to see you tonight, my friend. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Through a little bit of research, it looked like this was a kind of a fun act with a friend. But one of those shoes is a slip-on style speed-laced shoe called a Hey Dude shoe, right? That would come off very easily. So that's our first clue. The second thing is that those shoes don't appear, according to the autopsy report, to have any damage on them.
And there we are. So that being said, I've been to, sadly, a good handful of people that were hit by cars. I've been to those scenes. Almost every time that somebody has been hit by a car, it knocks them in some senses out of their shoes. Now, I'm not saying that would happen every time, okay? But with the body damage that this kid had, I was expecting that. If he was run over by something large or like that, I would have imagined there would have been some damage to the shoes. The way that the abrasions on the back show up, okay? Jody, welcome. Good to see you tonight. I feel that he may have been tied by his feet to a vehicle that kept the feet off the ground and drug on his back down the road, because there's no damage based on what was stated on either one of the shoes. You know what I mean? So, but it often does. That's right. Probably out of 5 calls that I was on that somebody was hit by a car, 4 of those they get knocked out of their shoes. I'm not lying. It's really crazy. So it's the force of that. You know what I mean? So just saying. So that was one thing that made me automatically think, wait a minute. Either those were put on after the fact, or what I'm thinking about him being drugged is really possibly what could have happened. And he was tied to the vehicle that did it by his feet instead of, you know what I mean? So it's just a thought, folks.
So that rules out dragging, right? We would expect to see some abrasions or some wear and tear on the shoe if that had occurred. So we would expect that he would have lost.
And that's why I explained that to you, because I knew she was going to say that. I had it backwards, like that he was tied by his feet to the vehicle, lifted up off the ground. I'm guessing a pickup possibly, okay? And that's how it happened, which is why I think that.
Lost the shoe, or we would see some damage on the shoe. Then when we look at the injuries that he'd incurred, if we see a hit and run, if he'd been walking on the side of the road and he would have been struck by a vehicle, we would expect to see some fractured femurs, right? Legs, pelvis that were fractured. And what we lack here with his injuries, although they're extensive, is we don't have leg fractures, we don't have broken ankles, we don't have fractured pelvis. All of his injuries really appear to be torso, head, neck. They're all pretty much waist up. Now, we do see some abrasions. We see some minor injuries waist down, but really everything is constant.
That's when I came to the conclusion, knowing that I envisioned them possibly tying a rope to his feet, his ankles, whatever, and pulling him behind a vehicle that way. And he was also, in my opinion, he was definitely beaten up in a bad way. I agree with that with SRB. You'll see more of it.
Concentrated from the waist up. And when we lack those, injuries or those, damages on the shoes, that takes this in a very interesting direction.
I think it's interesting too. And the fact that it's so confusing to me that he has all this injury to his body. He's naked. He's wearing 2 different shoes, yet there's a pair of shorts undamaged nearby. So I'm left to wonder, did somebody dump him there? Was he placed there somehow? But then we have the black material in the scrapes on his back, which makes it sound like to me, well, he had to have been scraped somehow. We know that he was in the ATV accident, but was still able to return to the party, according to what's written in the autopsy report. So we have undamaged shorts. He's naked except for shoes, but he had been in this ATV incident, but was still able to go back to the party. So it's very confounding to me. Does it seem like somebody dumped him there?
That's the shorts would look like those shorts are undamaged, and we see that he does have abrasions on his buttocks. So the shorts being undamaged, right, meaning they don't really appear to have, from the autopsy report, blood on them. They don't appear to be scuffed up or scraped in some way. So then we know he's not wearing them at the time of the incident.
And that's why I said, you guys, earlier, that right there, like they took his clothes to humiliate him and then drug him that way. That's why I think that happened. And then the shorts were laid down next to him after the fact. It's very strange. And like I said, if they don't show them, I will pull up the autopsy and show you what it shows. Okay. Yeah, I know SRB. I definitely do. I'm working on, I'm probably going to have some, I have, in the chai tea, spice chai, that helps my throat all the time. So I'll probably make a cup of that here soon.
So is he walking and holding them, and then something happens to cause him to drop those shorts? Or is he dumped and then somebody throws those out along with him? You know, those are our two options that we're looking at. With these injuries, we would expect to see a significant amount of blood with the skull fractures that we're.
Thank you. You guys are getting what my thought process was on this. I mean, I've seen a lot of people in bad situations because of what I did. That's what I'm thinking. If the feet were tied up to the back end of a pickup truck, it's lifted off the ground, and he's being drugged that way, his body is at an angle, and it's going to put more pressure on the back of his head, his back, his buttocks, definitely his buttocks, and his back area. And his legs won't get any damage other than the pulling, okay? And that's when I came to that conclusion as to what I think could have happened. And I'll show you, like I said, on the autopsy, why I believe that.
We're dealing with. So if this scene lacks blood, that is something that would lead law enforcement to consider whether or not this was what we call a dump site. But also we have to take into consideration the substrate and if that's something that the ground would saturate, if they were able to find an area, where that blood could potentially be. Now, the autopsy report does say that there's black material embedded in some of the injuries. That to me sounds more like he has been pressed or had some type of crushing injury that has embedded substrate asphalt type material. I'm sure they're going to collect that and want to test that. The other thing that's interesting to me is there is a piece of the autopsy report that seems to indicate some type of pattern injury at the rear shoulder. Linear and circular pinpoint types of injuries. I don't know, I haven't seen photographs, but when we're talking about a pattern injury on a roadway, the first thing that comes to my mind is, are we talking about a tire?
Very much so, Jesse, very much. That's why
we seem to have a majority of injuries that are on the left-hand side of his body. We have a left lung that's collapsed. We also have rib fractures. When we're looking at beating type of trauma, which has to be a concern or consideration in this case, most ribs that are fractured from beating.
He was 19 years old, Mark. Very young.
Are lower rib cages, right? That's people that are punching in like gut type shots. His ribs that are fractured are very high. We're talking ribs that are normally protected by your shoulder blades, your clavicles. Those aren't shots that people take when they're punching or beating somebody. Those are corresponding ribs that are fractured on the right and the left, and they're about the width of a tire. Are we looking at somebody who is passed out on the roadway and a car rolls over the body, crushing those ribs, leaving that pattern type injury, embedding asphalt into the back as it rolls his body over?
That was going to be my next question to you. My thinking was, is he in the road and he's run over by a vehicle? The vehicle maybe doesn't see him. It mentions how it was not a well-lit road.
If he was run over, I think it's by the vehicle that drug him and then backed up possibly over him or forward again. That's my thought on this. Like I said, it's very graphic and hard to hear at some point, but yeah, that's what I think may have happened.
And somehow he's in the road and he gets run over by a vehicle or hit by a vehicle that isn't aware that they're hitting somebody or something like that. I don't know that. That's speculation on my part. And again, we haven't seen these pictures. They say that his manner of death, and there are, 5 manners of death, just so the listeners and the viewers understand. We have natural, accidental, homicide, suicide, and undetermined. This is undetermined because they don't have enough information. They know what caused his death, all of this blunt force trauma to the head and the neck, but they don't know basically the how. Like, did somebody do this intentionally? Was it caused by another person? We don't have that information. So where does the investigation go from here? Because I can't imagine that it's over. There has to be something else. There has to be more going on.
Well, keep in mind that when a body is found nude, they are automatically going to look towards, is sexual assault a possibility? I don't think that that's the case here, but the fact that he is found naked is going to be cause for concern. They're going to take penile swabs, anal swabs. They're automatically going to do fingernail scrapings and clippings just to see if there are any signs of struggle. So I'm sure that those are being sent to a lab just to see if there are any type of foreign DNA profiles. They're going to wait for those to come back. So no, an investigation is not over because it's undetermined. They're going to be conducting interviews. I would be hard pressed to think that there is somebody out there that does not have some information. You do not hit something of that size, if that were the case, not seeing the scene or any photographs, but if there is a pattern injury on this child, somebody out there knows they hit something.
Yeah, it's confounding. And I think we need more information too about how did he leave the party? Was it after the argument with the girlfriend, or was it sometime after that? Like, was he walking away from the party? How far away was the party? There's still a lot of questions that we don't have the answers to, but we'll look into it further. And we appreciate your time, Alina. It's a really sad case. Just poor kid.
It's
passing
very
away like
sad.
this. It's awful. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the family just wants answers.
Yeah, most definitely. And they deserve them. Thank you so much, Alina Burrows, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.
Okay, so that was the expert on that. Guys, give me a minute here to load this up. Be right back. All right, you guys, I'm coming. I'm sorry about that. All right, next up. Let me get to where I was here. Give me a second. Okay, I got so much of this. I'm trying to pull the right thing out. Okay, next. 1 second here. And I know right out of the gate, the reporters that have been putting this stuff out, you guys, we're not fans of. But hey, True Seeker, good to see you tonight. Another student hurt at school, airlifted to hospital. No one is telling what really happened to him. His parents want answers. Oh, absolutely, Kathy. I agree. All right. Sorry, that's what took me so long, is I actually was making tea. So SRB, you're wrong. So that I can get a better voice for you guys, because I sound horrible and I'm sorry for that. Okay. So this next story talks about the possibility of what his injuries are telling some investigators that have looked at this.
Presgrove died in Oklahoma at the age of 19. Investigators still haven't said how it happened or who might be responsible or really much of anything other than the death is suspicious. Tonight, we learned from Noah's family that when the teenager was found on the side of a highway back on Labor Day.
Now, this video you're seeing on the side here is from the party that night. What was going on in the video. Yes, I listened to you, Mom. I promise. I do listen to you guys.
The back of his head was caved in. Some of his teeth were missing. His nose and his cheeks appeared broken. His fingertips were shredded. He was naked, except for a pair of mismatched shoes, one belonging to him and the other belonging to a friend. I'm joined now by Joseph Scott Morgan, a certified death investigator and distinguished scholar at Jacksonville State University. So, all right, Joe, I want to go over that list. I want to pop it up on the screen, just sort of as a guide here, because with your prism and how you look at things, I thought maybe this would tell a story that we're not seeing. Start with this. The back of his head was caved in. Some of his teeth were missing and scattered where he was found. His nose and his cheeks appeared broken. His body seemed beaten and swollen. His fingertips were torn up. There was gravel under his nails. There was road rash on his.
See, that part right there. Gravel and his fingertips were torn off. What does that tell you guys? Somebody was trying to hold on to something, I feel, and he was being pulled. And he couldn't. He was trying to stop himself. You know what I mean? This is horrible, guys. Again, trigger warning. Very handsome young man. It has a whole life in front of him. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's exactly why I've thought this. So,
hip and gravel rash on his shoulder. We're working on getting the list up, but I know that you have a good memory. So, Joseph Scott Morgan, what does that tell you?
Yeah, this large injury that Noah sustained to the back of his head is interesting to me, because that is likely a point of impact, perhaps. Now, that impact can arise from any number of things: falling from a moving vehicle as a pedestrian, maybe being pushed out,
or like I figured, they were in the back of the truck, tied his legs to the truck, and pushed him out the back of the truck. He hit the ground, and they drag him. We talked about this before when we covered this before, and that's what I came to the assumption of, I guess you could say. It could be two. It could be two. Either way.
It could also arise from an attack that preceded being left on the side of the road. So for us in forensics, it's very important to examine that particular injury very carefully. And at the risk of being too gruesome here, we would shave the head in that area to pick up on any particular pattern. Sometimes the road will produce stuff, but you can also have instruments that are used. Blunt trauma is what we're talking about here, Ash. And you look for that abraded pattern there. So that's something that we would certainly look at, particularly as it applies to this head injury. It sounds horrible.
I think you and I did a couple of cases together where there's a lot of talk about, specific geographic locations of dirt or gravel.
Yeah.
dirt here is not the same as dirt 15 blocks down the road. And so would there be an interest in figuring out the gravel that was found on his hip, the gravel that was found on his shoulder versus the gravel where he was actually discovered?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Forensic geology is what comes into play here. You begin to think about this area and the topography, also the composition of the local soil. And we're talking about a roadbed too. So folks at home will get an idea of what's referred to as like pea gravel. It's kind of the bed that's laid down. You can see it on the shoulders of the road. So I would want to make sure that anything that is recovered or was recovered from Noah's remains actually marries up with what you're seeing at that site, or did this occur elsewhere? That's going to be very, very important here in this particular case, because I got to tell you, Ashley, I've worked a lot of cases over my career where we've had bodies that were dumped along the side of the road because it's convenient for that to happen.
Yeah. The other thing is the investigator told the family, this has to be quick, but the gravel rash happened first and the road rash happened when someone placed him on the highway. That's what the investigators intimated to the family. What does that mean?
Well, the road rash itself that they're talking about, that almost sounds like a dragging event, Ash, and you'll get these kind of striated abrasions that come along with that. It's very distinctive when you take a look at this, and that's the transfer of the surface, the friction of the surface to the underlying skin. And keep in mind, and I got to say this, look, you're talking about a kid here that's completely nude. One of the things that I'm going to do anytime, it doesn't matter if male or female, doing a rape kit, going to do a rape kit. And I know that they said that they found underwear adjacent. I want to know the status of that underwear as well. Was it ripped away? Was it twisted and torn? That's something that we see in motor vehicle accidents. I want to know how the underwear got off his body, and I want to know where the rest of his clothing is.
I'm going to have you back because there's a whole other page that I want to go
Anytime.
over with you regarding the scene of the party and the forensics there. So this conversation's not over. Joe Scott, thank you so much. Always love having you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
All right, you guys. I was always a big fan of Joe Scott Morgan. Some things have changed over the period of the past year or so, but you never know. All right, now let me show you guys some stuff here real quick. All right, so this obviously Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. This is his real deal. It's the autopsy report for Noah Alexander Nichols. Okay, and it gives all the info of what it was, so on and so forth. Multiple blunt force injuries. Okay. Let me see where it says here. Jefferson County, so on and so forth. Excuse me. Well, the findings are listed here as multiple blunt force injuries, head and neck, abraded avulsion, laceration on the top of his head, the top, okay. Subjacent abrasions on the lateral left eyebrow, okay. Corner of the left eye and left cheek. So all basically from here down. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. I think you should be able to see it. And let's see here. Left ear with associated. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't read the rest of that. Lateral left eyebrow, corner of the left eye and left cheek, front of left ear with associated lacerations and left side of the neck. So that's the side that he got the most damage to, that I feel like that he was drugged by, if he was drugged for sure. Abrasions on the right back of the head, behind the right ear, and subjacent posterior right neck, broken upper and lower teeth, with abrasions on the midline mucosa of the upper lip and laceration in the midline mucosa of the lower lip. So my mind said he was going back and forth if he was being drugged on the road, bouncing, rolling back and forth, and getting injuries on both sides of his body on the backside. You see what I'm saying? Maybe to the side, on this side, then this side, things like that, because you're bouncing and moving around. All right, so then we got broken upper and lower teeth with abrasions on the midline mucosa of the upper lip and laceration on the midline mucosa of the upper lip. And again, I think this kid was beat really bad as well. So laceration on the left surface of the tongue, probably from bouncing and being pulled. He bit his tongue, possibly. Subcutaneous scalp and subgaleal hemorrhages on the parietal, occipital, bilateral, temporal, and left frontal regions of his head. So his entire head, okay? Left temporalis muscle laceration and hemorrhage, fractures of the left parietal, temporal, and frontal bones. Basal skull fractures, splitting the middle base of skull in two. His skull was literally cut in half, folks, with this. Broke, like split in half. This is insane. I.e. the anterior and posterior and extending to the left temporal and sphenoid bones and around the occipital bone, which is the eye socket per se. Additional separate fractures of the occipital bone extending into the edges of the foramen, magnum and occipital condyles. Subdural hemorrhage of approximately 20 millimeters and bilateral subarachnoid hemorrhage. Sorry, I couldn't see. Swelling of the brain with lacerations of the inferior surface of the left temporal lobe, brain stem, and its adjacent cerebral vessels and left cerebellum. And of course, cervical neck fracture at C1, C2, C6, C7, misalignment of C1 and occipital condyle, pneumocephalus, and pneumorhagius. So the brain was definitely swollen too. Welcome, Michelle. Good to see you tonight. And CT girl, welcome. Multiple. And it says the manner of death is undetermined, folks. It's very sad. He also, on his torso, this was just the upper half of his body, his head, okay? Broad abrasions to the upper back containing black material. Again, I'm going to say asphalt. Abrasions showing combined linear and varicized, pinpoint to round to irregular individual patterns involving the upper left back, shoulder, posterior left arm, and left side of the torso. Again, abrasions on the right buttock. Abrasion with the varicized pinpoint to round to irregular abrasions on the side of the left buttock. Lacerations of the right and left lungs, both, with contusions. Left pulmonary vessels, left atrium of the heart, spleen, and proximal stomach. Soft tissue hemorrhage of the posterior upper chest cavity. Bilateral hemothoraces of at least 1,200 milliliters in total. Hemopericardium of at least 150 milliliters, which is blood, okay? Hemoperitoneum of at least 200 milliliters. Bilateral scapular fractures. Bilateral posterior rib fractures as follows. Pretty much all of them. Right 1, 5, and 8 ribs. Left 2 and 5 ribs. Thoracic vertebral fractures T1, T2. This is what I meant. Pretty much all of them. Sorry. T1, T2, T4, T9, and T11. That's a lot. Bilateral pneumothoraces with left more than right. So that was the side, his left side was the side that had the very most damage to it all. The extremities, so he had abrasions on the right arm and his forearm, left elbows, thighs, knees, legs, and right foot, the side of the right ankle, and the side of the right hip. Like I said, it's almost like he was bouncing side to side if he was being drugged on the road as you're going down the road. Bry guys in the house. Good to see you, buddy. And then it says no evidence of fractures on the legs. In consideration of the circumstances surrounding the death, autopsy, examination, and toxicology result of the death of Noah Alexander Nichols is due to multiple blunt force injuries. The decedent was found naked, wearing only a pair of shoes on the right side of a highway on the morning of September 4th, 2023. There were no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene at this time. What transpired on how the body was found on the road having multiple blunt force injuries is unknown. Therefore, the manner of death is deemed undetermined. Not one bit a piece of anything on the road, folks. Nothing. So the autopsy was performed on Noah on September 5th at 1 o'clock. Okay. And it says the circumstances of the death. This is where the things got interested. What name is that again? Which one, Tomboy? I truly think he was drugged, folks. I can't get past it. I'm sorry. The decedent. Oh, 1 second. 1 second. My dog's going nuts. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right. The decedent was a 19-year-old male who was found on the southbound side of a highway by a passing truck driver on September 4th of 23 at approximately 05:53 hours, 5:53 in the morning. Okay. He was naked and was only wearing unmatching shoes. There was a pair of shorts found several feet from the decedent and was reported to be his. Period. Additionally, there were 3 pieces of a white metal chain, as well as a part of a tooth present several feet from the decedent. Also, there was a clump of hair found within one of the lanes of the highway several feet from the decedent. Additionally, a clump of hair was observed on the right buttock without blood or tissue. The paved highway consisted of 2 lanes with shoulders on both sides and a speed limit of 65 miles per hour. The highway was poorly lit at night, and there was no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene. Further investigation revealed that the decedent was at a house party and drinking on September 3rd of 2023. When he rode an ATV Ranger vehicle with several men that had a rollover incident. The decedent was alive following the incident and returned to the party where he got into an argument with his girlfriend. The decedent left the house party and was not found until the morning of September 4th on the side of the highway. And it says the subsequent identification of the decedent was made by visual tag. The external examination says, hold on a minute here. The body was received sealed with a sealed number, which we don't need to know, along with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner identification tag. The body was that of a normally developed and nourished Caucasian male appearing about the recorded age of 19 years. The body measured 73 inches in length and weighed 175 pounds. The BMI equaled 23.1 kilograms. Rigor mortis was complete, and the pink-purple livor mortis was presently posteriorly and fixed, except in areas exposed to pressure. The body was received wearing only an unmatched pair of shoes. The right shoe was a Hey Dude brand with a special shoelace containing minimal debris and grass inside. The left shoe was an Adidas brand with regular tied shoelace containing more debris and grass inside. There was no observable damage to the shoes. Also received were 3 separate brown bags labeled as follows: shorts containing a pair of white printed shorts without observable damage. white metal chain containing 3 pieces of white metal chains, and tooth containing a broken half of a tooth consistent with a molar tooth. The scalp hair was brown. The eyes had white sclera, pale pale conjunctivi, and brown irids having 5 millimeter dilation of the right and the left pupils. Respectively, there was no evidence of petechiae, hematoma, injuries, or lesions present. The dentition was natural, and there was stubble. There was no evidence of petechiae or lesions identified in the oral mucosa, and there were no masses discernible in the neck, and the larynx was in the midline. The thorax was symmetrical. The abdomen was flat. The external genitalia were those of a normal adult circumcised male. There was drying artifact of the scrotum, and the back of the extremities showed no significant deformities. There was a drawing in black ink of a stick figure person on the side of the right thigh. There was a cluster of parallel linear scars on the posterior left arm and elbow. There were additional scars of different shapes on the rest of the extremities. There were scabs present on the upper right lip and palmar surfaces of the right thumb and index finger. There were scabs and healed abrasions on the right side of the nose, back of the right hand, including the 3rd through 5th knuckles. Middle phalanges of the index to the 5th fingers and distal phalanx of the middle finger. There were healed abrasions on the lower back of the left hand, including the 5th knuckle and the middle phalanx of the 5th finger, posterior left ankle, medial heel of the left foot, and dorsum of the left foot. There was a round healing ulcer on the posterior right thigh. There was drying of the palmar surfaces of the hands, and there was skin slippage and bullae on the right upper back and left knee. There was a cluster of tan horizontal linear interrupted abrasions on the left abdomen, swabs, oral, penile, and anal, hair, scalp, and pubic hair, fingernail clippings, and photographs were all obtained. And it says there was no evidence of any treatment, evidence of post-mortem tissue donation. There was none of that. And the evidence of injury is listed as multiple blunt force injuries on the head and neck. We read all those already. And those. It says the evidence of injury. Again, we read all that. I already described that to you. And that just gives the organ weights, all of that. Really has no bearing on any of this. The head. Let's see. I'm going to make sure. No abnormality was noted in the anterior cervical muscles, hyoid bone, laryngeal cartilages, and trachea. So the neck was okay. Like he wasn't strangled or anything like that. And everything else, as far as the cardiovascular system, respiratory, and biliary. Sorry, I can't say that sometimes. Everything was normal except for the injuries. Okay. I'm trying to get to where. Again, it says except for the above noted injuries, all the muscles and axial skeleton were free of any. He was a healthy kid, period, in every aspect except for his injuries. I'm trying to find. Okay, so the toxicology report gives that the ethyl alcohol blood was at 0.14 and vitreous was 0.18. Carbon monoxide was blood. It just says blood. Tests that were performed they performed EIA, femoral blood tests for amphetamines, methamphetamine, fentanyl, cocaine, opiates, PCP, barbiturates, benzodiazepines. The EIA panel does not detect oxycodone, methadone, or clonazepam. I don't know why. And it says the results, none detected. So it doesn't, this one, I used to have it, but I don't have it here, but it doesn't give me the, where it shows it with the diagram, which I don't think we need to see. I just described it to you in depth, guys. It's pretty bad. Really, really bad. Okay. I mean, it's insane how bad this is. And that's why I came to the conclusion me personally, that he was drugged and possibly beat at the same time. So, 1 minute here. Hold on, let me load this in. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to pull up the 911 call for you guys to be able to hear how this went down next. One minute. By the way, welcome, Aquarian. I didn't say hey to you. All right, here we go. Just in case you can't hear something clearly. All right.
What is your emergency?
Hey, on Highway 81, just north of Terrell, in between Terrell and Ryan, Oklahoma, it's probably about 3 miles north of Terrell. Driving down the road, and I had a bunch of cars behind me, but it looked like somebody got hit, like somebody walking down the highway laying on the shoulder of the road.
It looks like somebody's laying in the road?
Like on the shoulder, like maybe they were walking and somebody hit them, unless it was a deer. It looked like a body.
Okay. You said, so on Highway 81,
in between Ryan and Terrell, just north of Terrell, it's probably about 3 miles, kind of in a low spot.
Okay. And is that gonna be? I'm trying to think which way that highway runs. Is it gonna be on your east, west, north, or south? I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
It goes north and south. It runs out of Duncan.
Okay. So what side of the road is that on?
It'd be on the west side of the road.
Okay. Let me see who I have on duty to go check that out.
That's it. It looks awful odd.
Okay. What is your name and number, so if the officer has any questions?
It's Tyler, 580.
I will get a hold of the officer and go get it checked out.
I believe it is the same dispatcher.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day. 911, what is your emergency?
On the road, from my understanding, Christine, yeah, that is where they found him. That's why the cross was put in that area there, exactly, off the side.
Yes, ma'am. I was driving to work. I'm south of Terrell, or north of Terrell, south of Ryan. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's somebody laying dead along the road. They look naked. I'm staying back.
Okay, I
But-
just had 2 calls on that, and I have a deputy headed that way.
All right. Well, I'm
And
sitting here blocking the road
Oh, are you there waiting? Okay.
because he's the body's laying right on a white line.
Oh, it is a boy. He's naked, and he's laying on the white line. He's naked.
I turned around because I just about hit it because there's a deer run across the road, and I'm like, first I thought it was a deer, and I was talking to a guy who worked with him. I don't think that's a deer.
Welcome, James.
Yeah, that's what my first caller said. Thought it was a deer, and then when he looked back and he said, "No, there's no way that's a deer."
No, and it actually looks like there's a piece of clothing maybe laying in the middle of the road. Now, I don't want to get too close. I just
No, this is
Don't-
another 911 call that's looking at it.
Oh, she's already been in touch with Jeremy.
Okay. Yeah, Jeremy's gonna head that way.
Jeremy's heading that way. She's on the
Okay.
all right.
Okay. So you're staying there, or?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and make sure nobody runs it over or anything
Okay.
else. I mean,
I have a art reporting party staying there until a deputy gets there to block so nobody hits them again.
There is a reporting party is going to sit there with flashers on until.
Okay, I appreciate it. Can I get your name and
Yeah.
well, you're going to
Yeah,
be
my
there.
name-
Okay.
yeah, my name.
Okay. Are you the one I just talked to?
No.
Oh, okay, because I had another Tyler call me too. Okay.
Oh.
What is your
No,
phone number?
It's let me remember my 580. I'm on my work phone, but I don't ever remember that number. That's my personal phone number I just gave you.
Okay, no, that's fine. Just for my logs of all the 911 calls I'm getting on it. But I do have the sheriff headed there and an undersheriff headed there too.
All right.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
911, what's your emergency?
More than 7 months after Noah Presgrove died in Oklahoma at the age of
Hang on. Sorry, they overlapped. 1 minute. One minute. Okay, where's it at? Where'd it go? Where did it go? Come on, load in for me. Here we go. All right, I'll show you this and then another one I got that comes right after this. This is I think this was, hold on a minute. Yeah, this was released in June.
This September will mark 2 years since the body of Noah Presgrove was found on the side of a highway in southern Oklahoma. If that name doesn't jog your memory, I'll bet you remember the details.
Welcome, Ginger.
Noah was 19 and naked except for his shoes, 2 mismatched shoes. A pair of shorts was found several feet away, along with a metal chain, some of his teeth, and a clump of hair.
Wait, did I already run this one? Hold on.
His remains were in terrible shape, and Noah's cause of death is listed as multiple blunt force injuries, possibly from a vehicle strike. Although, and I quote, there were no vehicle parts or debris observed at.
It was negative for all of those drugs that I read off to you. Yes, Aquarian. There was ethyl alcohol is all that showed up for it.
The scene. Noah's manner of death, accident, suicide, homicide, or natural, is actually marked unknown. And I repeat, we are fast approaching 2 years since Noah died. He had been at a Labor Day party that lasted the entire long weekend. According to the autopsy report, Noah had left the party to take a.
I think I did show this one already. I'm sorry, you guys. I got like 2 or 3 of the same looking thing link-wise, so My apologies. On we go. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. Sorry, you guys. I'm struggling with these tonight. Okay, here we go. Jesus God. Sorry about that.
Two years since 19-year-old Noah Presgrove was found
Now, this was just dropped 3 days ago.
dead on the side of a rural road out in Oklahoma, naked except for his shoes. And this was just minutes away from a raucous Labor Day celebration with friends. Now, as a legal battle between Noah's family and those same friends heats up, Noah's own best friend has filed official paperwork saying that maybe Noah brought his death upon himself. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Welcome,
Labor Day
Tea Time.
weekend marks 2 years since a wild, days-long party out in Oklahoma came to a sudden halt when one of those partygoers disappeared from the party and was found by a trucker on a rural road not far from the home where he and his friends were celebrating a birthday. We're talking about 19-year-old Noah Presgrove, who is referred to as Noah Nichols in legal paperwork. He was found dead along a highway. This was in Terrell, Oklahoma. He was reportedly in the fetal position, naked, except for a mismatched pair of shoes. Some of his jewelry and even his teeth were scattered nearby. His injuries were shocking, to say the least. His neck was broken, his skull was split open, many of his teeth were broken. And Noah, who is this star athlete in Comanche, Oklahoma, had graduated from high school a few months before. He was reportedly planning to join the military with his cousin. This is according to family members' interviews with People magazine. He had his whole life in front of him.
Yeah, Tea Time. We covered Deborah's case pretty hardcore. I'm very unhappy with the outcome of Deborah Collier's case still. I can't let go of that either. So good call and welcome again. Good to have you back tonight.
And now you have this. An autopsy documented Noah's horrific injuries, but didn't provide a lot of information about what could have caused the damage to his body. And despite his family believing that he was beaten to death and dumped along the road, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol is not investigating this case as a murder. They've previously categorized the situation as suspicious in public statements, but really haven't provided much info at all.
Welcome, Trish.
No one has ever been arrested or charged in connection with Noah's death. And frustrated with this lack of information from authorities, Noah's estate filed a wrongful death lawsuit against multiple people allegedly involved with this party, seeking at least $75,000. But aside from monetary compensation, it seems that Noah's family is really hoping to learn more, to learn details about the night that he died by forcing depositions, getting evidence.
And that's my thought too. With the amount of money that they're asking for is very low. To me, it sounds like they're looking for answers, not money. So that's my feeling on that one for sure.
Evidence, learning more, discovery. And maybe it's the depositions from Noah's friends as well as from law enforcement that will provide that information. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of people connected to this case.
Thank you so much for being here, Tea Time.
7
We
people in
appreciate
one
you.
corporation. Again, none of these people have been criminally charged with any wrongdoing, but they are listed here. They are Avery Jo Combs, also called Avery Jo Newton, the birthday girl who co-hosted the party. Jack Newton, this is Noah's best friend since childhood. Caleb Newton, Jack's dad, who's accused of letting his son and others ride on a four-wheeler despite being intoxicated. Carter Combs, this is Avery Jo's sister and Jack's longtime girlfriend. The two recently announced on social media they're expecting a child.
I agree with you on that, Midnight. That's why I believe that he was put in that position and left in that way when they were done doing what they did with him, in my opinion.
Child together. There's Stevie Howard, Avery Jo and Carter's mom, who apparently owned the trailer where much of the party took place. There's Johnny Trout Wilcoxon Jr., the man who owned the property where the trailer was. There's Logan Jernigan, another friend who helped organize the party. And the corporation Listed in this suit is Val Petrol LLC, which owns a convenience store called Napoli's in Marlow, Oklahoma. So the lawsuit contends that Jack Newton, despite being underage, was reportedly able to buy alcohol for the party there. And the lawsuit also
Great to
names
have you here,
John
James.
or Jane
Welcome,
Doe's
Moonbreak.
A through Z, meaning they're as of yet unidentified people who may have been involved in Noah's death and who may be liable, who could be named as defendants at a later time. And remember, it's being alleged that
Agreed,
over the course
T-Time.
of several days, people came and went from this party, possibly as many as 40. So this lawsuit claims that there was a civil conspiracy to provide alcohol to underage individuals and to keep giving them alcohol despite clearly high levels of intoxication. The complaint reads, despite being underage, decedent, meaning Noah, was promised and provided copious amounts of alcohol if he attended the party. Defendants provided the decedent with alcohol over the course of multiple days, even after he was already intoxicated. During the party, defendant Caleb Newton permitted decedent to drive or ride his all-terrain vehicle while intoxicated. Decedent was involved in an all-terrain vehicle accident and sustained injuries. Now, friends have reportedly said that the ATV just tipped over, that Noah wasn't really hurt. He was really just dirty. And Carter and another girl allegedly helped him shower off. This is according to reporting from the Daily Mail, and then apparently gave him a pair of Jack's basketball shorts to wear.
And that's where the whole shower thing comes into play right there because of that.
Quote, toward the end of the party, defendants Jack Newton and Avery Howard were seen verbally fighting with decedent. According to the Daily Mail, Noah apparently wanted to go sleep in Avery's bed, but she said he had to sleep on the floor. And they claim Noah walked off in a hurry. He was angry, presumably going outside to cool off. And that was reportedly the last time he was seen. Quote, at or around 3:41 a.m. on September 4th, 2023, at least some partygoers began to notice that the decedent was no longer physically present at the party. And 3:41 is a very specific time. It's actually related to a Snapchat photo that was posted by another woman at the party named Jasmine Milan. And in it, she's got kind of this seemingly awkward smile. And the caption says, well, Noah's missing. Now, Milan later addressed the photo on Facebook, saying it was meant as a joke at the time and that she didn't know that any harm had actually come to Noah. 2 hours after that photo was taken, or posted, I should say,
Thank you, sir.
Noah's
I appreciate
broken
that.
body was found along the highway around a mile away from the party spot. The lawsuit states the decedent was beat to death by one or more of the defendants. Now, the complaint, to be clear, doesn't say who exactly they believe was involved in this alleged
It was
beating.
2 years ago.
The complaint continues. Defendants breached their duties of care to decedent by providing him with alcohol, by continuing to give him alcohol even after he was observedly intoxicated, by driving decedent around on an all-terrain vehicle while intoxicated, and by selling alcohol to a minor who purchased alcohol for decedent to consume. Either intentionally or accidentally, the defendants killed decedent. So that lawsuit was filed in June.
And understand that from what I remember on this, it's been a while, the sheriff that showed up was friends with the parents of the best friend, I believe. Don't quote me. I'll get there right. I will get it right, but that's my belief on this, if I remember correctly.
In July, a judge approved a subpoena that requires the Oklahoma Highway Patrol to turn over documents related to Noah's death. The Comanche Times reports that the investigative file contains a trove of information, including all photographic, audio, and video evidence, statements from witnesses, and any lab analysis or forensic findings. And then earlier this month, a few of the defendants responded to the lawsuit with what's called an answer. Filings came from Val Petrol as well as Caleb and Jack Newton. We're going to talk about it because most of the Newton's filings contain, answers to the claims made in the original complaint. That's what you see in an answer. It's like confirming information, affirming it, denying it, saying.
Exactly, Lucy. At 3:41, Pluto is exactly opposing the decedent. Sorry. Not a single chance that when that Snapchat happened, that the person doing the snap did not know. Astrologically, it's clear that she absolutely knew what. And I know what you're saying. Take care, Jen. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate you very much. She was up when she did that.
you need more information. So you kind of see that throughout. For example, the document reads,
Welcome,
regarding
good trouble.
paragraph 1 of plaintiff's petition, defendants admit Noah Nichols was a resident of Stevens County in September 2023. Defendants deny all other allegations. And they do that for every line in the lawsuit, which takes up almost 11 pages. But at the end of the filing, defendants Caleb and Jack Newton offer up 8 affirmative defenses that they say could be used to show they are not liable, they are not responsible for Noah's death. So to talk about the latest legal developments and how family members and friends are dealing with the upcoming anniversary of Noah's death, I want to welcome on 2 special guests. I'm joined by civil attorney Perry Fallick and Nick White, U.S. senior investigations reporter for dailymail.com. Thank you both for coming on. Nick, I'll start with you. Before we even dive into the legal filings, I just want to talk about the case and the investigation as a whole, because it's kind of one of those mysteries that really pulls you in. It doesn't let you go. It's really disturbing, to say the least. Have you spoken with any family
Very
members,
much so.
friends, people involved in the case?
I mean, I've been following this since I think April last year, which was when it all really kicked off. I mean, we sort of created this, the national attention to this story. It was very local before that. So that's the extent of my involvement since then. So I've talked to like dozens of people since then. Some of the family, I've talked to people who are like friends who are related to the case, some of the people who are actually were there at the time and were involved in it, and some witnesses. So
I
there's
agree
a lot of
with
people
that.
who were talked to primarily last year, because this story kind of, there was nothing that was happening since probably late last year until the lawsuit was filed in June. So a lot of people have been sort of carrying this for almost 2 years, like you say, but they've had a lot of, as it sort of went along, people were less interested in talking about it as they sort of wanted to move on, and they realized that perhaps, especially as soon as the lawsuit was even being talked about earlier this year, before it was actually filed, that they maybe would better not talk too much in public.
Hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring today's Law and Crime YouTube from your phone in just 8 in this case.
It really depends on who you talk to.
And what stood out to you about that? I mean, there's so many different players in this case, but what stood out to you? What was the main theme you were getting from your conversations with the different people and the different players in this case?
It really depends on who you talk to. I mean, everyone has an opinion about how he died, and no one actually knows.
It was his best friend's dad. His best friend and him, Jack and Caleb Newton, I believe their names are. The best friend said that he was supposed to go fishing with his dad. He hadn't been to bed, folks, at 5:30 in the morning, and that's why how he came upon Caleb's body, because he was heading home and so on and so forth to go fishing with his dad. He had never been to sleep, so he was going to go fishing at 5:30 in the morning with his dad drunk. Again, that's a story I don't believe. I'm sorry.
Except the people who, may have been there when it happened. And there's a lot.
And supposedly when he came upon it, he saw the body and he ran back to the house, grabbed a pair of shorts and threw them on the ground next to him, and then dropped a handful of teeth next to him too, from my understanding. And then they go and he takes off. Said they were going to go back to the house and to call something or call somebody or whatever for this. Here's the thing. The sheriff gets there, and the kids that were there, he told them to go back to the house and go to bed. That's what was said to those kids that showed up at the scene. Go back to that house and go to bed. You were never here. What? Bullshit. Sorry. He was keeping them from getting in trouble because he was a friend of the dad. Insane.
Different possibilities that have been investigated. The first one was that he was hit by a truck, and that was quite quickly dismissed. But there are some people who are like closer to the case, some of his friends, who still hold that being a possibility. I think because it absolves anyone of blame besides Presgrove himself. But there's a lot of theories. There's a whole lot of people, especially people who are like locals in the town or the family, as you saw in the lawsuit, their theory is that he was beaten to death deliberately or accidentally, but like whether they meant to kill him or not, they leave that open. But other people will say that he fell off the side of a truck. So there's a lot of different theories that are going around, a lot of hostility that's been sort of simmering, mostly on Facebook groups, over the whole course of this time. And it really, once there was a national spotlight on it, a lot of
not at all.
I guess people came out of the woodwork to talk about it. A lot of people who are not involved in the case were talking about it, and we kind of got to this pressure cooker situation where, like, the two sides about it, because there's almost like the family and a lot of the townspeople and just random people who are interested in the case are all sort of lined up saying the friends that were at the party know too much. They must have seen something. Maybe they're hiding it.
I agree with that one, Tea Time, for sure. Both of those.
Maybe they did it, and they have the most sinister possible idea for how it could have happened. Whereas from my conversations with, say, Jack Newton, who I talked to last year, and some of the other people that was on the parents and so on, they're all saying, well, look, we don't know. We weren't there. Jack maintains he was asleep from, say...
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Noel, and welcome, by the way. Caleb, Jack Newton. The summer before, there was a little girl they were out on the water doing something, and he was intoxicated, and a little girl drowned while they were out on the boat. That is true. I forgot all about that. Thank you, Noel. That's what Brian was trying to get on. So yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. Caleb Newton, which is the best friend, Jacob, his father, the summer before, I believe it was, or maybe it was 2, but they were out on the water partying again, and the little girl drowned. I think she might have gotten hit with the boat too. Don't quote me on that part of it, but I do remember, because we had looked into all of that when we first covered this. That's it. And welcome again, Noel. And then the dad, there was talk between some of the friends through their test, back and forth between them, that the father was also caught at that house during the party in a bedroom with one of the girls at the party. Just saying. The guy is not a good dude. Okay. Not by any means whatsoever.
1:30 onwards, and Noah didn't disappear for another hour and a half, 2 hours after that. And then he only found him on the road when he left at 6 a.m. So that's his claim, that he doesn't know what happened, but he can't think of anyone who would have a reason to kill him.
Yeah, the first sheriff or the undersheriff that showed up was friends with Jack Newton.
Well, or even beat him up to the point where he died. So there's sort of a lot of hostility about people saying, look, if you know what happened, why don't you tell us? And there's them saying, well, I don't know what happened, so I can't tell you. Right. And that's been the conflict for the past probably 18 months.
Perry, before we go into this answer, what do you think of the lawsuit generally?
I think it's a unique lawsuit from the perspective of, and I watched a lot of your other coverage and the prior coverage on this from Law and Crime, and I think it's true that, because there are no criminal charges filed and there's no ongoing criminal investigation, the family felt this was their best option to get information. And one thing I thought was interesting is that, and I don't know how it is in Oklahoma, but generally in a civil suit, you don't have to name a specific amount of money you were suing for. But the $75,000 stuck out to me as extremely low based on the circumstances and what the potential damages in this type of suit could be. But it makes sense from the perspective of, this is a family who lost their son under very suspicious circumstances, and they're just trying to get information. So from that perspective, casting a broad net, suing numerous people, which would potentially allow you to take multiple depositions of the defendants, it makes sense from that standpoint, and it's not something you see every day.
Yeah, and sometimes a lawsuit can provide information that people are looking for. So I want to talk about a few of the most interesting affirmative defenses that were presented in this filing, or maybe defenses. You have number 1, plaintiff's petition fails to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. So basically, even if you take everything as true, there's no cause of action here. There's no reasonable argument for getting any sort of damages. Number 2, Decedent was negligent, and his negligence proximately caused or contributed to his accident and damages, if any, and decedent's negligence is comparatively greater than defendant's negligence. Therefore, plaintiff is not entitled to recover their alleged damages. And that is also kind of similar to number 4 on the list. Defendants owed no duty of care to the decedent. Perry, cold when I read it from a legal filing. What do you make of those 3 defenses? Failure to state a claim, didn't owe a duty, he contributed to his own negligence.
Well, first off, I want to make clear what affirmative defenses are and what they aren't. So it could be spun in a lot of high-profile cases. I understand why it is spun this way, and plaintiffs' attorneys will do it too and use it to their advantage when they can in a high-profile case. But an affirmative defense is essentially a defendant reserving their rights. And something I thought was interesting here that I don't know if I've ever really seen before, at least I haven't seen it in a New York case, is that the last paragraph of the affirmative defenses that these lawyers put in the answer very clearly lays out what affirmative defenses are, that they're reserving their rights so that they are not waived. Because a lot of times if you don't put these affirmative defenses in an answer, you may waive your right to assert them later. And they state in the last sentence that they will withdraw them at the appropriate time, which would generally be right before trial or after all the evidence has come in. So I don't normally, as a plaintiff's attorney, don't normally like to give a tip of the hat to a defense attorney, but I do think that's a smart thing to put in here to really lay out, hey, we're not blaming the plaintiff per se. We're saying that if the evidence bears that out, if the facts ultimately show that he was at fault, that is a potential defense we're going to assert. So and then moving on to the specific affirmative defenses, they're pretty standard. So failure to state a claim is basically something you're going to see in every affirmative defense. What I think is telling here is that the defendants could have, instead of filing an answer, could have filed what's referred to as a pre-answer motion to dismiss. So if they truly thought that the plaintiffs in their complaint hadn't even made out a claim on the pleadings, on its face, they could have, instead of answering, they could have moved to dismiss, and they didn't do that here. The second one is more interesting because in Oklahoma, they have what's called a modified comparative negligence rule, or a 50% rule, where it says that if a plaintiff is found to be 50% or more at fault, he can't recover. So if he was negligent, if the evidence or the facts ultimately prove that Noah was at least 50% responsible, the defendants here are saying, then they don't have a case and we're going to move to dismiss on those grounds. So that's a very interesting one where, for example, in New York where I practice is a pure comparative negligence state where you could be 80% responsible for your own accident and still recover that other 20%. So Oklahoma is a very different situation than what goes on in some other states.
That's Caleb, the best friend and the son of that Jack guy that we just saw. This is just sickening to me that they're going to try to blame any of this on him at all and say it was his fault. It's disgusting.
Practice pure comparative negligence.
And I appreciate you breaking that down. I think that's an important point. I should also say that the father and son also claim that this could have just been a terrible accident. It says the accident was an unavoidable accident, casualty, and misfortune which occurred without negligence on the part of the defendants. You go to number 5, defendants at all time relevant exercised ordinary care to prevent injury to themselves and others and had a right to assume decedent would obey the law. Now, Perry, before I go to you, Nick, based on these defenses, does any of this add up from what you've seen in your investigation about what may or may not have occurred?
I mean, a lot of, like I said, a lot of options are on the table as to what actually happened. And since the only people who know are the people who were there, who may or may not be Jack and Caleb. Caleb claims he was never there at all, and he's basically said, I don't know why I'm involved in this. I was never there. And he also claims the ATV was basically Jack's property, even if maybe he
and he was there, though. He was there.
Legally owns it, I'm not sure. They sold it last year. And so they're basically saying that, look, a lot of things could have happened to him. We don't know. But either way, it's not our fault. And we'll see what happens with the evidence there. Because and a lot of the others have basically held through the entire time this has happened, that they don't know what happened to him. He wandered off, and that's the last time we saw him. Anything could have happened, but we didn't have anything to do with it. So that's going to be, so they're sort of basically saying we have nothing to hide. But, we didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. Perry, one of the things that stuck out to me about that last part is, right, many of the people at this party were under the age of 21. They were drinking heavily. When you're talking about exercising ordinary care, right, exercising ordinary care, all the defendants were exercising ordinary care to prevent injury to themselves and others, and had a right to assume the decedent would obey the law. Does that feel like a stretch? Am I looking at this the right way?
Well, it depends. So first of all, I looked at Oklahoma law, and they do have a social host law that would apply to drinking alcohol or serving alcohol to underage minors. But it doesn't appear to me that there is a civil counterpart to that law. That law,
And the crazy thing is, Caleb's trying to lie and say he wasn't there, but he's the one that ran up there, saw the body, folded the short, and brought the folded shorts up there and laid him down and dropped the teeth. Really? And his father was there at that point and said, I guess Caleb said, what do I do? Or no, let me clarify. Caleb brought the shorts back up there and he gave the teeth to his father, and his father's the one that tossed them on the body. And when they both left and went fishing, supposedly. That's what I'm saying. This whole thing is just insanely crazy and disgusting, you guys.
penalties under that law are mostly criminal in nature. So, and I think it's telling because I don't believe that in this complaint, the plaintiff's estate brought any type of cause of action.
Yeah, a trucker is the one that called it in, that saw that, but they were there before that. Somebody witnessed them show up beforehand, and then Caleb went back to the house, grabbed the shorts, brought those back, and the teeth or something like that, took them out of his pocket, and they tossed them on the body or next to the body. And then the semi driver is the guy that called it in the first time, and the other guy that was in a pickup truck is the other guy that blocked the lane. He called in the second call. There's like 3 or 4 calls made. But yeah, you're right, Noel. That's absolutely right.
Under the social host law, they're alleging a civil conspiracy, and I think maybe trying to fit it under there. It could also fit under a pure negligence theory, but that would really only apply to people who have additional duty. So that would be the homeowners, the parents, people who were in a position of responsibility based on the location of the park.
That's the biggest problem right there, is that we have a parent here that is allowing multiple underage kids, some of them, from my understanding, were as young as 13 or 14 years old, at this party drinking while he's in the house drinking, hanging out with a teenage girl himself. Come on. Something ain't right, okay? Really crazy.
Party. So that's why in the lawsuit, they named the Combses, they named the mother who had her trailer on the property, because those people are in a position where they do owe a duty of care to people they invite onto their property, and they do owe a duty of ordinary care. Now, we're talking about Caleb and his dad. If his dad had no ownership of that property, and whether or not he was at the party, he doesn't really have a duty to Noah from that standpoint. Now, the only duty may arise from this ATV and whether who owned it and who didn't own it, and how much the accident did or didn't contribute to his death. So maybe there is a hook there. And at this stage, before any discoveries happen, basically what they allege in the complaint should be enough. Although I wouldn't be surprised if some of the other defendants, when they ultimately respond to the complaint, you may get at least one or more pre-answer motions to dismiss that I discussed earlier, instead of just pure answers, even if those motions to dismiss are not to get rid of the whole case, but maybe just to narrow down some of the claims or knock out certain allegations that don't have enough factual support behind them at this stage. So I do think there is something there based on the defendant and what their responsibility was to Noah. And especially if you're an adult and you're at a party like that where there's people drinking, but any underage people, you do have a duty to those individuals.
And it brings me to number 6, where it says decedent with full knowledge of the risks inherent in consuming excessive quantities of alcohol, including the risk of injury or death, voluntarily chose to participate, and therefore decedent knowingly and voluntarily assumed the risk. And the filing also argues that claims of punitive damages are unconstitutional under the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. So 5th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, 14th Amendment.
Yeah, Brian, we have that coming up too.
Basically, damages, they have to be reasonable, they have to be proportionate. And as I mentioned, Val Petrol also filed an answer to the complaint, offered its own affirmative defenses, saying the plaintiff failed to show that Val Petrol owed a duty to NOAA, violated Oklahoma laws on the sale of alcoholic beverages, had any direct connection to NOAA's death. Perry, your reaction to that and these filings overall, what should we be thinking about?
Well, so speaking about the Petrol answer, I do think there's merit to that based on the little amount that's in the complaint. Normally, anytime there is a Dram Shop Act, it's referred to a lot of time, or a social host law, where it applies to commercial establishments who are selling alcohol to people, it's normally intended to protect a third party. So in this situation, it's unique in that there's no allegation that NOAA bought the alcohol from this establishment, right? There are other individuals who went there, purchased the alcohol. Those people, then it's about how drunk those people were and then causing injury to a third person. So in this situation, for example, a drunk driving accident, if a bar overserves an individual and that individual then goes out and gets in an accident with a third person and injures them, that third person who's injured can, in theory, in states that have these type of Dram Shop social host laws, could sue the establishment, the commercial vendor that sold the alcohol. That's not really what we have going on here. NOAA was consuming alcohol voluntarily by all accounts. There's no information that he was being forced to drink. So if his intoxication caused his injury, I don't see any claims or any basis to hold the originator of the alcohol liable under these facts. So yeah. I understand why they're bringing that into play. I understand the parents are casting a wide net, to, like I said at the beginning, because they're trying to get information here. So that all makes sense to me. But ultimately, I don't know what the hook is to the Val Petrol or the gas station that sold the alcohol.
That's a good point. I hear you. Nick, to wrap things up here, though, just going back to it, law enforcement's position has been what? That they're not investigating this as a murder, right? And correct me and what should people do if they feel like they have information that might help in an investigation in some way? So what is law enforcement's position at this point? And if people do have more information, what would you encourage them to do?
I mean, law enforcement has been very tight-lipped the entire investigation. Unusually so, I would say, if I compare it to other, death investigations. And they have revealed basically nothing until the collective media forced their hand in revealing the autopsy report months and months after it would usually be made public or even provided to the family.
The people, quite a few of the kids that were at the party, Noel, the homeowner, Jack Newton and Caleb Newton, and the woman whose trailer the party was at, which I do believe was Jack Newton's. Well, don't quote. I'm not going to state that one because I can't remember. It's been too long. But I will figure it out. I'll find it and I'll give you the answer to it. But mostly the people, quite a handful of kids that were at the party that knew about this, they believe Jack and Caleb Newton as well. I do believe he did, Tandy. I do believe he did.
Which it wasn't. They've said they're not investigating it as a murder, and you can interpret that as meaning that they haven't ruled out manslaughter. But it depends on what they meant when they said that. They could also be assuming it was an accident.
And there was one of the kids at the party. He was a younger kid. I think he was 13 or 14. I believe. Was going to come forward and talk on this on Facebook. And they shut him down. And in fact, he tried to because he felt guilty about things because he said he knew stuff. And from my understanding, the sheriff shut him down, period. And anything that they put out on this that he was trying to say, they completely said he was full of shit, blah, 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 so on and so forth. If I remember correctly, that's how that went down. I can't remember the kid's name, but there was one kid in particular.
But there's no real way to know that because they won't tell us. They won't tell anyone. They've changed investigators since then now as well. So it's really hard to know what they're thinking and how hard they've been working on this. They've said that, we're still working on this, it's still an open investigation whenever you ask them, but they won't tell you anything new or any developments about it. So it's hard to know what their actual thoughts are beyond that they don't think it was murder. The family doesn't agree with this, and neither do a lot of people who've been following the case. But that's just where the police have got to their facts. So I don't. It's hard to know what's actually going on in their heads.
And if people have more information,
I mean,
encouraged where to go or what to do, or
every time this has come up, it's been the family's pleaded for information for a very long time. They can call the Oklahoma Highway Patrol and tell them what they know, which, I mean, really that needed to have happened 2 years ago almost. But if they've got something weighing on them, I mean, this is really the time before this lawsuit potentially spirals out of control.
Perry Fallick, Nick White, thank you both so much for coming on. Appreciate it. And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you.
So there is that. I also have, I've been trying to find it. I used to have it. Give me a minute here. I'm going to pull this up. It's the only version of it that I could find. Give me 1 minute. It's not cooperating with me for some reason. There we go. There was video taken on the one girl's phone. Hang on. At the party. If I can get it to come up. Come on, load up for Papa here. That's a commercial. Give me a second. There was video taken at the party. I can't remember the girl's name that took the video on her phone. And it's not cooperating with me. Hold on. All right. Hopefully this works. I used to have a better version of this.
Come on. Yes, come on, Shady. Oh! Damn. Right.
That kid right there we just saw in the background is the one that wanted to talk. The one with the black t-shirt on right here in the background. He's the one that was going to come forward and talk.
I would just rather you know. I don't know where.
No, you slap me. I slap you.
As far as I can. No.
I do trust you. I trust me. I trust him. I trust him. Hit me. Go ahead. See, I wasn't.
What? Music in
Which one?
Yeah,
we got
you
it.
see my wiener.
Country Pimp. One-on-one. Mike Tyson. I know.
Who are you going to tell?
All right, so there's that. 1 minute. Sorry, you guys. That's the best one I could find of that. I used to have a better version of that. But those videos were taken the night of, and they kept giving him shots and more alcohol, more alcohol, more alcohol. Of course, he was asking for it, saying he could handle it. There was adults there, though, that knew better. That's the problem. You know what I mean? This would not have happened. And the adults furnished the party and the alcohol for them. Excuse me. 1 minute. So we have, I believe it's his grandmother that interviewed and his sister here. And again, I'm sorry about Ashley.
And they talked about it with our Alex Capriello exclusively. Here's that interview.
Ashley, it was an eye-opening experience speaking to the family of Noah Presgrove. We went into great detail about the autopsy report that's now in their hands, what they think happened to Noah, and the frustration they feel from not getting direct answers from his friends.
So blunt force trauma to the head.
Yeah, I believe it was over a weekend. Good trouble. I do believe you're correct. So this is his sister. This is his grandmother, I believe. Excuse me.
And your thoughts when reading that is that it's quite possible this might have been the hands of somebody else.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Tara.
I think that's what's got me.
It's a crime here too, Tara. Big time. Big time.
Thinking that it wasn't no accident, you know. He'd been just beat in the head so many times that it just, you know, and it couldn't have been by a car. Just once I saw his face, it's just, I just couldn't do it. So I have no idea about the hair.
I can tell it's still so fresh in your mind.
Oh, yeah. It just won't go away, and it won't. And these kids, they've been hanging out here for the last 4 or 5 years, you know, with that boy. And it's just, you know, hard to believe that you could have friends like that and they all just stabbing you in the back. I've talked to a few myself, only the closest ones that I feel like I could, but not really getting nothing out of them. I mean, one of them I've gotten a couple stories, 2 different stories out of his mouth, you know, and another one I've gotten 3 different stories out of his mouth. So, you know, which story is true, you know. And in my heart, I just pray to God Jack has nothing to do with it, you know. I mean, because I love Jack, you know, but, you know, that was Noah's best friend. And where was he, you know? I mean, I hate to put that on him, but, you know, it keeps going through my head. They've done wrong, they've done wrong.
And he did, in my opinion, Jack did have Caleb did have things to do. Caleb and Jack both had something to do with this, in my opinion, I'm saying.
And they need to stand up and be a man and admit it, you know, regardless. I mean, if it was an accident, why didn't y'all just say it was and call 911? I have respect for law enforcement, but I just feel like, I just don't feel like they're doing enough right now. They're not giving us no information. They're not giving us no hope. And it would be nice to have a little hope. It's not going to go away, you know, until this is resolved. We will not stop until it's resolved. And that, you know, and I'm hoping that it will put pressure on them, you know, to let's get busy and get this figured out, you know, and I'm hoping it will. Until you come and you tell me what happened to my grandson. You can't get over it. And I don't even know if I'll get over it then, you know.
I've made repeated attempts to get in contact with detectives with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol to try to find out the latest on their investigation, but so far, during my entire time here, I've yet to hear back. Ashley?
Alex Capriello, thank you. And since the interview, we want to say this. We've obtained Noah's full autopsy report, right down to the toxicology, and you might be surprised to find out what was not in Noah's system when he died. We're going to get to all of that tomorrow night right here on Banfield. And if you have any information on Noah Presgrove's death, please call the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, 405-353-0783. Take a quick picture of your screen. Thank you.
He had just said that Noah was in an accident, and so I thought he was in the hospital, you know, and so I come by and I pick up my dad, and we started driving down there, and it's only a 30-minute drive from Comanche, but that drive felt like 2 hours just sitting in silence. And then we show up, and Jack and Caleb and the Jefferson County Sheriff was there, and Noah was covered up on the side of the road with the tarp, and it was just kind of a good 10 minutes just staring at fields, just and a loss of words, you know. When we show up there, everything's going through our minds of what in the world could, because it doesn't look like a hit and run sort of situation, you know. And some weeks go by, and we you know, they finally rule out the hit and run, and that 4-day party turned into something awful that happened within just a short hour time span for him. I believe this is his tooth right here. His pants were folded up on that square mark.
His pants were there. His tooth was right there in that circle.
I believe so, yeah. And his body was here. And he was in the fetal position, facing that way. And his body was covered up with a tarp or a blanket type of thing. And as you're looking at it, you can see blood seeping through the covering and onto the ground. As I'm looking at it, it just seems weird. The placement of the body, the tooth, the shorts, where they're at, doesn't look like a hit and run. Not that I've been aware of.
Have you ever heard them say foul play is suspected?
I've heard suspected of foul play, suspicious death. And again, they don't tell me everything because they don't want to ruin the investigation. But they said that they've got a couple of people in mind on the situation, and that they're really looking in on them. So,
are you able to tell me who those people are?
They haven't told me.
But they have said that they have a few people in mind.
Yeah.
Interesting. Somebody's got to know something.
Somebody's got to know something. You know, if there's 40 people standing around and someone, you know, walks off, somebody knows about it. So if 40 people are standing around and somebody gets into a fight, somebody knows about it, you know. And with how close everyone is, with how many pictures are taken on Snapchat, you think that something has to turn up. Somebody has to know something and just doesn't want to say it.
And has law enforcement been pretty open with you about the things that you're hearing or what they are investigating?
Somewhat, you know.
Again, my apologies.
They're willing to spread, like, talk about certain things, but then there's some things that's like they don't want to say too much because what if it messes up with the investigation, you know? And so there's a lot of areas that we're still in the dark about, that they know more about, and I'm hoping that they know more about the situation. That's kind of their job, and the only way we're going to get through this thing is if we're still hopeful.
Do you have any message for law enforcement or anything that you want them to know about how you're feeling or this lack of information that you're getting?
I get it. I get it that you want to protect the investigation. I get it that you want to protect the case so that way it's carried out. But quite frankly, 7 months is too long. I just hope that people see this and are able to, you know, just maybe it'll push someone to say something, you know, that they understand that it's being selfless. It's for someone else. It's for the true victim. If you know something, just say it. You know, it's better to say it and let the family have some sort of peace, to let Noah have some sort of peace, than to not say anything.
And so again, it's about a push for answers from this family, but unfortunately not getting much new information from law enforcement. They tell me their information is at least 3 or 4 months old. And then earlier today, I stopped by the medical examiner's office in Oklahoma City to try to find out what's the latest there, if an autopsy has been completed yet, and when we're expecting to get that paperwork. They were really closed off to me about that, Ashley. They said it's just not ready yet, and you'll get it when it is.
The issue about the suspects that you know, Noah's brother believes that there are several people that they're looking at as suspects, that's what he's been told. And I mean, at this point, they have already said if there are suspects, it's not necessarily that it was, you know, an accidental hit and run. It could be both, right? It could be a hit and run, and that's criminal too if you leave someone on the side of the road and you know about it. Is it possible it could be both, even though police have said they don't think it's a hit and run?
Well, the interesting thing when actually examining this scene and then talking to the family is that there really was not overwhelming evidence to show
Yes,
that it was a
Candy
hit and
girl.
run. I've covered so many of these auto pedestrian crashes, and you notice some things are very similar, right? There might be debris from the vehicle that struck the pedestrian, right? A headlight or different parts of the car that are on the side of the road. There was no evidence of that. And then not to mention the fact that at least one of his shoes were still on his body. That's also indicative that a car traveling this fast on this highway, I've got to say, they're at least 70, 75, 80 miles per hour. Usually everything would go flying. The teeth were so close to the body. The shorts that were off of his body were so close to the body. So there's just evidence that points that it's not a hit and run. That's at least what the law enforcement is telling the family at this point.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider, and don't forget to click.
I absolutely believe that the scene was staged the way it was laid, and he was put there after the fact. Then we have 1 second here. So this next interview is with his friend. Yeah. And again, sorry about Ash.
That you were able to get on both sides of this, now what seems sort of pitched debate between these families. Tell me what you learned today.
Yeah, really interesting hearing both sides of the story, one from family, another one from a very, very dear friend. We did the interview separately because I didn't want any sort of contamination of the things that they were going to say to me and their accounting of the story, but really great details from the both of them. I'll show you just very briefly. This is the cross that now stands on the side of the highway. Jack Newton, that best friend who is at the very center of this conversation, is the one who actually placed these crosses here on the ground. The house where the party was, Ashley, is less than a mile away that way. So really the story goes, as they are trying to piece it all together, is that at some point, Noah actually just walked down this road at some point and his body was found not far from here. Let's begin with Jack's account, though, because Jack has a very different opinion about what happened than what his family members told me. And at the same time, he also shared new details about what it was like to have so much suspicion surrounding him and what it was like to pass a polygraph test. Take a listen.
I ran over here, asked him if Noah was okay.
Now this is the friend Jack. Okay, I don't believe how this went down. So,
and the semi truck driver had his hands on Noah like this, and so I just kind of, and I could just tell, you know, that he was not okay. He was laying on his side, and he just had his eyes closed, you know. And he had a cut on his forehead, like it wasn't just like terrible, like, I mean, it was just a cut on his forehead. The top of his hair was scraped off his head, and there was blood on his ears. 100% in my heart think that he was hit. I think he got hit on the top of his head by a semi. And that shoe that was on good just stayed on. I don't know. I can't explain any of it, you know.
Is there any part of you that believes that he might have been beaten to death?
No, he was not beaten to death.
Why not?
Because just the injuries, you just could tell he's not. I said, okay, I'll take.
You hear how quick he answered that and didn't want to talk about it. Remember that.
Polygraph test. I took the polygraph test, and I mean, it was nerve-wracking, of course. I had these two things on my fingers. I had a butt pad and then a feet thing, and these things around my chest. I mean, and I didn't even get to look at the guy. I was looking straight forward, and he was talking to me, asking me questions.
There's a lot of online chatter, and I think that's the reason why they're asking for you to take a polygraph test about you and your father. I mean, tell me about what that experience has been like for you to have to handle that type of discussion happening all around you.
I think the reason that I got brought into it is because, I mean, going through high school, you did not hear Jack's name without Noah and Noah without Jack. I mean, we were just always together. I mean, he lived with us for a while, and we were just always at each other's houses. And I think when everybody heard something happened to Noah, they just said, "What about Jack?" And just, I don't know. I don't know where all the crazy talk's coming from.
My biggest issue is with if Jack if Jack didn't have anything or didn't know anything when he showed up there the first time, because the guy that was there waiting, the guy he said he talked to, said that he came once and took off and ran back to the house, brought back the shorts, dropped the shorts on the ground there, folded, and then dropped a handful of teeth by the body. What? Why? And where'd you get the teeth from? He reached in his pocket, pulled out a handful of teeth, and dropped them on the ground. That doesn't make sense to me, folks. If you don't know something, I guarantee you that kid knows something and was either threatened that if you talk, there's going to be problems or whatever it was. But then the sheriff shows up and told him to go home and go to bed at that house. You go home and go to bed. 100% is what he said to him. You don't need to be here. I don't like that. Sorry. There was proof that he walked away from the ATV without incident. There was 2 accidents. One on the side-by-side. They rolled that, and then the other was a 4-wheeler that he rolled too. He was up and at him back to the party after both of those happened. He just got dirty, and they put him in the shower, showered him up, and now he came back out. That's why he was half naked at the party. Right, Lucy. 100%. Now, I still feel like he was drugged. Could he have been run over by a truck or something after the fact? Sure. But I think initially that he was drugged and he was beat down really bad. Because he was in the party, he was acting out. He pissed off somebody by wrecking the 4-wheeler that kept telling him not to get on it and the side-by-side. He pissed the guy that owned it off and his dad at some point, I believe. And so it makes you wonder, because he was really, really, really drunk and he was being obnoxious. Okay. I've seen those guys at parties get beat up when I was younger. Midnight says, I once heard an EMT describing the scene of a person hit on the freeway by a semi, and that's what I mean. They weren't talking about the shoes getting knocked off. There's a semi going full speed on a freeway like that. There wouldn't be much of the body left, folks. I'll be honest with you. That's my opinion. But I feel like he could have been run over by the vehicle that I think was dragging him, maybe once or twice too. That's just an opinion.
Just sucks. Do you feel good to kind of be past that a little bit with the polygraph test? I mean, do you believe that you're past that or no? People saying stuff. I mean, people are saying like it's easy to pass a polygraph and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. You can't really control what people say about it. You know, you just know what you know. And I've given.
And I got word that he took a polygraph and it came back inconclusive. It wasn't pass or fail. It was inconclusive. That's what I understood about this, but he can tell his own story.
I've put my personal number on Facebook and said, if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. So what has these last 7 months been like for you? I mean, it's always been the hardest time of my life. And on top of other people saying everything, just been the hardest time of my life. And so if you could tell there from the very beginning of that interview, Jack was one of the very first people on the scene. He tells me that he was leaving to go fishing with his dad when he drove up the road, noticed all the activity, and then saw Noah's body right here, bloodied on the side of the road.
So there it is right there. That part I was telling you, he was at the party the whole time and left and went home at some point. Okay. Or left the party. I'm sorry. Hadn't seen Jackson or Caleb or not Caleb, my God, Noah for a period of time, and was heading to go meet his dad to go fishing at 5:30 in the morning after being at this party all for 4 days. No sleep, no nothing. Was going fishing with his dad and came upon Noah's body that way. Saw him, turned around and went back to the house, grabbed a pair of shorts, brought them back, folded up, and laid them down there on the side of the road. Reached in his pocket, dropped the teeth, and then at that point, the sheriff had showed up and they told him to go home and go to bed. I don't like the way the story comes out, folks. Something's not right with it, okay? It's just not right.
Well, Alex, fantastic interview and so telling, but I'm still confounded by the other side of the argument, which seems to come from Noah's family. His brother spoke with you today and has a completely different version of what he thinks happened. Tell me what you learned.
Exactly.
Yeah, while
Lucy.
Jack is of the train of thought that this is most likely an auto pedestrian accident, a hit and run crash, which is something that law enforcement has virtually at least said that they have ruled out. From the brother's perspective, he feels like something much more sinister might have happened, that people at this party know something but just aren't saying it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find news.
And they do. I went all over Facebook on this, okay? When I first covered this, there's a lot of talk. There was a whole lot of talk. And hold on a minute here. I'm going to show you these, where are the wiretap leaks? Right here. Now there's something that's called the Presgrove project where they're trying to find the truth on this, okay? Give me a minute here. All right. This will explain itself here in a second, as soon as we get to that point.
Hey, do what?
All right, listen close now. The following is a recorded phone conversation involving Kathy Bingham, the private investigator that was hired for Noah Presgrove's family. This is presented for investigative and public interest purposes, period. They have to put that on the thing as you know what it's called. Hey, Dustin, good to see you, bud.
Oh, nothing. I'm gonna head out to.
Now, pay attention because, like it says here, there were key details that were found at the 6:08 minute marks, and the 6:20 and the 6:08 is the wire. Okay, 6:20 is the girl that's involved. 6:33 is Noah was killed on the front porch, they're saying, and 7:17 is Caden responds, and Caden is the name of the kid that was going to talk on this, okay? So just remember that. What's up, Miss Lana? Good to see you, dear. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're having a great night. Great show earlier, too. What I got to see of it, dear. As always.
Rochester tomorrow. I was just trying to get my car cleaned out, so I had my earpods in. Of course, my phone was way over there, and I don't know how to answer the phone with my earpods.
Yeah.
So I was like, anyway, what's up?
Oh, not much, girl. I've been so sick.
Oh, are you still sick? Oh, my gosh.
Well, no, I'm better now.
Oh, well, I knew you were. I mean,
I'm telling you, I was like, I was knocking on death's door, literally.
that flu.
It was.
Yeah.
No, I had pneumonia.
Oh, yeah, pneumonia. Yeah.
Yeah. That shit about took me out.
But you didn't have to go in the hospital, right? You just went and got your shots.
Yeah, I did all those shots, but then I went in and they had to give me some IV fluid. So to keep my fever down.
Oh.
So I mean, yeah, I couldn't get my fever down.
Wow.
So
how long were you running fever?
For a week, 104. I couldn't get it down under 101.
Oh my gosh, Kathy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they ran 3 bags of fluid in me.
So you were dehydrated too, then, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
Wow. Haven't been on Facebook a little bit, but.
But yeah, but get this shit. Why is Alicia fucking now just smearing Caden everywhere? Every which way she's going, she's fucking. It seems like she's just smearing him.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I mean, I don't know.
Well, what I'm talking is like she was talking about the AirPods. I mean,
oh yeah,
the AirTags.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she called me about that shit.
I know. Yeah, and then she says
she called me and told me that, and I tried to get her to go to the police. That's why she wouldn't go to the police. She said, "Well, my dad's got them." No,
that's right.
She wouldn't go to the fucking police because she fucking stuck them there.
Well, yeah, and then she admits it that she puts trackers on her.
Yeah, that's fucking yeah.
I mean,
she's talking about how when Caden left the party that morning, he called on his way home.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, what the fuck is she doing?
Was that something that you knew about anyway? I mean, did she tell you about that?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Listen to how they're talking, what they're talking about. Hey, Eminem, Mayhem and Miracles. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
I only fucking blown out of the water with that shit. And Caden never said that.
I'm telling you, he would have been a lot better off if she hadn't inserted anything.
She is just killing him.
I know. What can you do? I mean,
goddamn, man, I'm telling you, she better watch it. I think the mom's thinking to start falling charges on her.
Well, I still think that I still think she knew something.
I think so too.
I mean, because she's slipped at one point and said, she called OHP at 6:00 that morning, the morning that Noah died. Yeah, she wrote that in a text or a message or comment. I think it was to Tim, because she said something about, well, I called OHP at 6:00 that the morning Noah died. And then a lot of people were going like, well, maybe it was a typo. I don't think so.
Agreed, Lana. And his friend is the one that walked up and took the teeth out of his pocket and dropped them on the ground by the body. Come on now. He didn't pull his own teeth out and save them for later. We know better than that. This is ridiculous.
Well, Alicia, I just passed OHP. How funny.
Huh?
I said, I just passed OHP. How funny.
Oh. But she doesn't usually make typos. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She's pretty adamant.
I don't know, man. Goddamn, there's another one. Son of a bitch.
What?
I just passed 4 OHPs.
Are they headed to her house?
I don't know. They're going southbound, northbound.
Well, she lives on off 81.
I know where she lives. She lives over there by me, and I'm over here by the electric company.
Oh, I thought she still lived on Main Street. I mean, on G Street.
No.
No?
No, she lives over there by the Horseman School.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's where.
But you know what? I had a nice little interview with Caden the other day.
Oh, you did?
And again, Caden is the one that kept wanting to talk on this, okay? But then he wouldn't. So what's up, Kane? Good to see you, buddy.
Yep. And he was willing to talk.
Well, good. Good.
So,
Man.
anyway, yeah.
Is he kind of fed up
But
with her too?
He didn't say, but he didn't. He said he told her that he was coming over here, coming to talk to me. And then she said, well, don't let her run over you. And he said, I'm not going to let her run over me. And I have everything recorded. Everything.
Oh, good. Well, so does he, of course.
Audio and video.
Oh, good.
So let's start some shit.
Yeah.
Please do.
So was there?
All right, so we're coming up on the 6:08 minute mark, and this is where they start talking about the wire. This is something of importance to the case here.
I got you.
Any new information that
No.
he had?
He said the same exact thing. And you know what he said? He was willing to, he said if he had to wear a wire, he'd wear a wire.
That's the point, because the kid was upset. I think he was one of the youngest ones there, really upset about it, and said he would wear a wire. He would get them to tell the truth because he knows the truth. Okay. He knows what happened, but there's no way to prove it and to get them to admit to it. So there's that. And then at 6:20, 6:33, and 7:17 there's other points of very much importance in this.
Schedule.
Try to catch these people, Colton and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if Colton did it, but I know there was a girl involved.
What'd they do? Put him on the road and let a car hit him? I don't.
Nope. I think they killed him right there on the front porch. And then I think they got him in the side by side and drove him up and down through the pasture, and then put him in, laid him out.
I don't know. Can't follow that one because of the autopsy.
Well,
what I go by.
If you were to see it on my deal. But hey, let me call you back here in a minute.
Okay, babe. Okay.
I gotta finish what I'm doing. Okay,
bye.
So about this whole wearing a wire shit. So
this is where Caden comes into the picture with this.
So the Netflix producers, whenever we met them at some house, I don't remember where it's at. It's over where the wrestling people do in Duncan. It's an old ass house over there, but we met over there, and I told him that the only way I'd do this interview is if I was there whenever they did interviews with everyone else. And they said that they can't do that. And
wanted to make sure that he didn't stand out from everybody else, that he wanted to be there with everybody else so that it didn't look like he was narking on this situation, because he was afraid that they were going to come after him if he did.
And they proposed the idea of wearing a wire, and I was like, yeah, I could do that probably. And so it went on, blah, 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 about that. And then come the day that where I was talking to Kathy at her office. Only reason why I did that was because the Netflix producers were going to go shooting, and I asked them if I could come with because it was an excuse to shoot my new pistol I bought. And so I had to do that interview with Kathy that Netflix was filming. And I told them beforehand that I don't really trust Kathy, but I'll put all our judgment beside just so y'all can get y'all's damn film. And I have an excuse to shoot my pistol. So we get inside and they start filming. And one of the first things they fucking say is that I'm willing to wear a wire to talk to Jack and all them, Mikey and stuff like that, to try to get them to talk about Noah and see if they would admit to killing him or whatever. Well, that's out the fucking window now since the whole world knows about it. And yeah, but no, the Netflix producers pretty damn dumb, I guess. They should have known better after I told them that I don't trust them to tell sensitive information like that to Kathy. But yeah, it's pretty damn dumb. There's nothing we can do about it now. And it put an even bigger target on my back. Yeah, and let's see here. No, Cindy or
Hey, Tina.
the other Netflix producers.
Welcome, Kiki.
Well, yeah, they basically told her that. Not Cindy, but the Derek and them. Whenever we were doing the interview that day on April 25th. So, yeah, it's not Cindy's fault. It's Derek's fault. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Someone will probably end up killing me.
That's kind of scary that they really, truly, they threw the poor kid under the bus by saying that out loud. And he was trying to help in the investigation because he knew certain things that he couldn't prove. And the only way they were going to get this, and mind you, like I said, the sheriff knew and knew certain things and kind of swept it off. Okay. And I don't even know. I haven't seen or heard nothing about this kid since this all came out. I hope he's okay. I'll just put it that way. So that's it right there, folks. I'm going to continue following this now that it's updated a little bit and hope and pray to God. There we go. Let's try it again. That there's some kind of justice that comes for Noah for this, because this has been just insane. So you heard right there that they believe that possibly there was a kid there by the name of Colton. There was a girl that was there as well that he may have been killed on the porch. And then they took him out, she said, through the field, so on and so forth on that side by side. I still think he was drug on the road at some point too, that they drug him there. Maybe with the side by side down the road, that mile drive down the road, they drug him there, disconnected, and left him lay there, and off they went back to the house like nothing happened. And if that's the case, that would explain the whole thing. But he was beat to death, in my opinion, first, okay? Or at least close to death. And they're believing that it was on this porch. It's really sad, you guys. It is beyond sad to me, this whole thing. And there's no answers. Nothing. I haven't been able to find it yet, Brian. I don't know if they're done with it yet, but I heard that was going to be happening. So if you find it, let me know. It was something they were going to do that was involving not just this case, but some other stuff too, I think. So, right, Dustin. Yeah, this is a huge mess, guys, and a really, really sad story for the family for sure. Oh, excuse me one. All right, sorry everybody, I'd let my dog in. Good to see you tonight, Kiki. I hope you had a great weekend. Appreciate you jumping in. So again, this is where I'm at with this for now. Hopefully the civil case does something for the family. Any updates that I have from from this point out, I will definitely be following up with. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have anything else on this new. And I think I got everybody picked up all the way to where we should be at with this. Let me check one more thing. I had another link over here. 1 second. One minute. Thank you, Lucy. Oh, hold on. Here's the other side to this too. 1 minute. I knew I had a couple other things that I had buried on in this. Give me a second. No, I don't want that there. Oh, damn it, Jim. Hold on a minute, you guys. These other things I had grabbed earlier. Yeah, I went over the autopsy earlier, Kent. Earlier on in the show, I covered the whole autopsy. Move that down. There we go. All right, so this was released in July of 25. Look at all them toys. The mystery surrounding a teenager's death by desolate highway might finally be unraveled if a groundbreaking lawsuit results in his friends being questioned under oath. And that's why they filed the lawsuit, guys, so that they're forced into testimony per se. Let's see. His family have long believed that he was beaten to death and his body dumped on the road. They filed that. We know the lawsuit they filed, so on and so forth, which means forced depositions in that aspect. Okay. And if that's the case, they have no choice but to speak on it. Let me see. Just see if this has anything in that I haven't already given you. Yeah, it says there the defendants would be mandated to provide sworn testimony and relevant documents, potentially revealing previously undisclosed facts, contradictions in prior accounts, or specifics that bolster the plaintiff's claims, like he said. Presgrove's cadre of close pals are still raging well into Sunday night, consistently claims that they had no idea how he died. If they were even awake when he died. That's bullshit. Sorry, but it is. Hauled into a deposition under oath for the first time. Those who knew how he died could finally crack and reveal what happened. And then it would be known that they had no choice but to talk, and nobody could go after him for being a rat, per se. It says the discovery phase will undeniably bring new facts to light surrounding the circumstances of Noah's death, in addition to more facts relating to the nature and extent of the defendant's involvement in his death, he said. And it shows where the party was, right here. And he was found right there, literally straight up the road, 1 mile, right? Straight shot. This is Jack right here. That's his buddy. And that was Jack's girlfriend, I'm sorry. And they're both named in the lawsuit because she is, if I don't know this for a fact, folks, but based on like interviews we had saw a year or two ago, hearing that there's possibly a girl involved, it's believed that it could be her, Jack's girlfriend. Okay, hold on here. And this is another girl that's that's been named in the lawsuit. Logan Jernigan is one of the girls who was at the party who Presgrove fell asleep with earlier on the weekend and was there the night that he died. She's named as a defendant in the lawsuit. So is this girl, I believe. He disappeared after arguing with Avery Jo Combs. This is the girl that he tried to get in bed with, I guess. After he asked to sleep in bed, but refused. She refused. Avery was named in the lawsuit as well. She allegedly, this is the girl who hosted the party. Girl agreed that even if the most serious claim was dropped before the trial, the family could still have a case that negligence contributed to his death. Okay, that's really, truly, as far as anything new. This is where he was found laying right in this area here. Okay. His tooth was right there. There was something else of his here, and the shorts were up this way a little bit further, folded up neatly, which is so weird to me. It says the lawsuit left open the possibility that the alleged beating wasn't meant to kill him and included unidentified individuals among the defendants. Either intentionally or accidentally, the defendants killed Presgrove, the lawsuit claimed, and although the death may have been unintended, hosting the party and beating of Presgrove was intentionally malicious and in reckless disregard of his rights. Presgrove's family insisted his death was not caused by being hit by a motor vehicle, an early explanation now thought to be unlikely by investigators. Sailors said exactly where Presgrove died was another thing the lawsuit hoped to clean up. We can't say for certain whether his body was dumped on the highway after he was killed or if he walked away with serious injuries until he collapsed. There's no way the kid walked down there like that. No way in hell. I'm telling you, there's no way he made it there on foot. I think if it happened that way, that they did beat him until he was dead on that porch. And then I think they tied him to the side-by-side and drug him down the damn road, which is why he had the external injuries on the backside of his body. Somebody lure them out there. Is that what the shorts were for? No, his best friend came down the road, said he was going fishing, and came upon the body and saw him. When he realized he was laying there naked, supposedly he ran back to the house and grabbed a pair of shorts. Came back. The witness that called 911 had seen him. He was blocking the road. Saw saw him make both trips. Jack, he laid the shorts down neatly there a little bit away from the body, reached in his pocket and threw the teeth on the ground next to the body too, and off he goes. It's insane. So, and it says that those two, Jack and his girlfriend, were the two most prominent defendants in the lawsuit. That should tell you something right there, you guys. Thank you so much for the membership, Kat. I can't see who got it, but I will in a minute here. Give me a second. But he was, and his dad, Jack's dad, Caleb, was at the party because somebody else that was there, I think it was that Caden kid, said he walked in on Jack's dad with one of the girls from the party, mind you. He was 40 years old. Those girls were in their teens. It's disgusting. Thank you for both of those, Kat. That was so very generous of you, dear. I appreciate that so very much. That's Jack's dad right there. And that's his wife. You see how young she is? So I can imagine he was interested in younger girls. But supposedly he was found at the party with one of the girls. They were drinking, everybody was, in one of the rooms. And the girls that threw the party, this is the mother. It was her property that the party was on. That was one thing I had confused before. And at the very end of the party, before Jack or before Noah disappeared, defendants Jack Newton and Avery Howard were seen verbally fighting with Jack or with Noah. The three of them were seen fighting with Noah. A rough series of events emerged over the years since his death as the case was investigated. Texts were leaked and the details intensely discussed online. So there you go right there, folks. And Jack will never come out and tell the truth, obviously, because he knows he'll go to prison. End of story. The sheriff tried to help cover it up and protect him as well as his own dad. So, and he protected himself too. So that's it, you guys. They're not doing it shit of anything, Wade Bird, because the sheriff's friends with the Newton family. That's it, folks. Noah Presgrove. Like I said, I wanted to bring it out, heat it back up because it's definitely become a cold case. And show the updates on it because there hasn't been anything until what I just showed you recently. Want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Oh, and then of course there was a caption put out, and it's believed that this girl knew this, okay? That she knew what she was doing when she said this. She posted this, if you guys saw this in the beginning, if you remember right. At 3:41, it says, well, Noah is missing. A lot of people believe in the Facebook groups that were involved in this that I was following that was done on purpose because she knew at that point that something had happened. So, thank you again, Kat, for another one. That's 3 new meatballs jumping in the sauce with us tonight. That's awesome. Love it, and I appreciate you so much, Kat. God bless. There's Caden. That's the kid that wanted to talk and I believe did to some extent. And then it got blown out of the water and he never got a chance to tell everything he wanted to. That's his last name. I never could remember that up till recently. Or recently, I couldn't remember from before, I mean. Caden Pressey. And it says the official timeline is disputed by another party goer. That's Caden there. Picture. He said that he was woken up at 5:15 by Jack bursting through the door at 5:15 a.m. Jack burst through the door saying Noah's dead at 5:15. Okay. Golfmark Energy Field Supervisor Tyler Hardy. This is the guy that found him right here. And his wife Mallory was the first person known to find Presgrove's body and called 911 at 5:48. There is where it catches it right there. Thank you. Jack ran back to the house that they were at, okay, at 5:15 and busted in the door and said, Noah's dead. This guy did not find Noah till 5:48 and called 911. What does that tell you guys right there? That's why Caden wanted to talk about it to everybody. Caden also claimed that when he followed Jack to the body, Presgrove had black shorts on, in contrast to being naked with a pair of white shorts on the road nearby. Since the Daily Mail's initial coverage of Presgrove's death last April incited the global media attention, thousands of true crime enthusiasts have flocked to 3 Facebook groups and Reddit to endlessly discuss the case. Many of them are convinced that Presgrove was murdered and his body dumped, and I am as well. All right, and that is absolutely it there. Hopefully we get it figured out and Noah gets some justice. So does his family, guys, because it's horrible. He was way too young, and this is just sad that there's kids out there that are keeping these things secret just to protect themselves. It should never happen. So that's it, guys. I don't want to keep you here any longer. It is late here, 11:56. But I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I hope you guys had a great holiday weekend. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight for this. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to my moderators for being here. As always, you guys are amazing. I couldn't, wouldn't, or shouldn't never try to do without you because you know I can't. Much love to all of you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way at the door if you have not yet and share it out. One big important thing, though, guys, please don't forget to love yourselves, love each other. Please don't change a thing. You guys are the beautiful people, and I will see you very soon. Good night. God bless. Bye-bye.
Splattered like rain, coffee stains tell stories of pain, spoons clinking whispers in the night, shadows dance beneath the neon light. Who drank the poison, who lit the flame? Everyone's guilty, no one takes the blame. True Crime Cafe where secrets bleed. Flows of regret, ashtrays full but we're not done yet. Clock ticks louder, the walls close in. Every sin tastes like original sin. Who's the killer, who's the saint? Fingerprint judge, they don't paint. Truth or dare or just pretend. What's the start, what's the end? True Crime Cafe where secrets bleed. Truth of bullet, truth of need. True Crime Cafe where lies collide. Order up a story no one can hide. Who's the killer, who's the saint? Fingerprint smudge, they don't paint. Truth or dare or just pretend. What's the start, what's the end?